Roy's countering. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot from behind. Unsuccessful on that. J7 coming in for the support.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's been a quick little week, 5 days we've been off broadcast, but you know what? We've been all getting ready and set to go for the grand finals of European PMCO Full Split 2020. My name is Maxman with the amazingly cute Imperium on my side. There you go. It's the first time I call him cute. That's the first. But there you go, Imperium. How you doing, man? Ready to get into the finals today. I'm mega hyped.
Yeah, I'm really super hyped. As you mentioned, we've had a 5-day break. The teams have been preparing scrims, maybe various little tournaments to cross away, all for these moments across the next 2 days. As we'll talk about, we'll get into 8 games, and after those 8 games, the top 4 teams will move on up to the next stages of the PUBG Mobile Esports scene. It's really exciting because whatever we've seen in the group stage, whatever we've seen in the semi-finals, to be fair, that all gets scrapped. It all comes down to these 2 days, these 8 games.
8 games coming up. Just to set this, maybe set the stage a little bit. We had like thousands upon thousands of teams, you know, signing up in Europe to try and qualify for the European PMCO for this specific full split. 32 teams made it on through to the group stage. After that, there were only 24, and now they shall be only 16. And after today, Imperium, there won't be all that many. They're only going to be an extra bunch of teams, only 4 to be exact, making it over to the next stage. So you want to be in top 4 after tomorrow, and you can make it over to the next stage of the tournament. Let's see. But real quick, you know, we got a graphic here showing all of the teams. So in case you want to see, maybe my team, I didn't look the group stage, didn't see the semi-finals ready. What the hell were you doing? You should have checked it out. But that's completely okay. The votes are still up. But here you go. The 16 teams that will try and represent Europe into the next stage. And these 16 teams are what we can say easily, Imperium, the top 16 best teams in all of the European region. And they're ready to represent their countries, their teams to the best of their capacities.
Yeah, and you can see with the behemoth of teams that we have, like Godsend, the X Team, 4 Menu Men, which is now Bet Esports, Everett Reserve, Clay GLA. The list goes on. You have the returning World League team, UDR Killers as well. Let's not forget about those. But it's very, very safe to say, in my opinion, as much as some teams will be favorites, some teams look stronger coming into the finals, that any single one of these teams can make it through.
Yeah, literally, it can be the team that you might not expect it. Like, they can pull off literally a UDR Killers. That's what we saw in the spring split in the group stage.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, through the entire tournament. Actually, you know what? They were struggling at the start, UDR Killers. Then they qualified, going into them PMWL, West. And they picked up 7th position overall. So you know what? That was still a really good comeback story coming out from UDR Killers. And literally, this is anybody's game going into this. And I really can't wait to jump into the games. Our first game should be up in normally just around, you know, 4 or 5 minutes. So we'll tell you guys anyways when we're going to be jumping into the first game. Of course, it's going to be Erangel. But we got a lot of teams that we're expecting a lot from. And before we go into this, I think it's also really good to mention the schedule of the day. Because this is a little bit of a different schedule to what we had happening into the group stage, into the semi-finals. So I'm going to pop it on screen right now. We're going to be having Erangel, of course, for the first game. Followed up was Miramar, Sanhok, and then we're actually going to have Vikendi. So no double Erangel. No. We're going to have 1 map of each. So that really forces these teams to be even more consistent over 1 day specifically to be good on every map.
Yeah, and of course, when I look back over how the teams had performed in the group stage and semi-finals, that does put some teams in a better light. I'm looking at Godsend, probably Polar Ace as well, and even for Many Men / Bet Esports, and it does put some teams under some pressure. The one that I'm definitely looking at is Time to Shine. They've been pretty good in Erangel and Vikendi, but Sanhok and Miramar has been kind of their kryptonite between the group stage and semifinals, where they just haven't been able to find that performance in those maps. And hopefully, hey, look, if you can do it in finals, that's all that really matters, right? Because they are an incredibly strong team. But if it falls apart for them, that 10 points less that they might get in another map could be the reason why they don't make it into the top 4.
They're definitely going to try and fine-tune those other maps to really try and get those results, because unfortunately in the scrims, you know, I don't want to put like a big flashlight on them, but in the scrims we did have a very unfortunate tendency of seeing them go out in like 15th, 14th, 16th position with very little kills to show for it. So really here, time to shine. It is literally their time to shine. They have to get their games in. They need to get the points. You only got 8 games over 2 days. That's not much, Imperium. We know it. We have tournaments where we have like hundreds of games, especially like PMWL. Over 2 days, that goes really quick. One game could be the reason why, yes, you make it to the next stage, or you just get eliminated right off the bat.
Yeah, so much. It's, man. And another thing is like, and it comes across with the maps and the schedule that's being played, is the kind of mentality of being confident on every map. So as a team, you have to be confident on every single map. Yeah, okay, you can have particularly stronger map knowledge on Erangel compared to Sanhok, Vikendi, or Miramar, but you still have to go into every single game, every single map with that certain confidence that, hey, look, I can perform. Doesn't matter if it's snowy mountains, doesn't matter if it's desert terrain, it doesn't matter if it's greeny pastures. I, with my team, can get the job done and get a strong result.
You didn't mention the jungle, Imperium. What the? Oh, okay. I'll give it up to you. It's okay, Imperium. Normally, you're the one that always likes to talk about Sanhok. I'm a little bit disappointed right there, but that's fine. But you're talking about teams, you know, that need to be consistent. One team that, in my opinion, and I think also for you, Imperium, there was a little bit of a surprise going especially into the semi-finals. That was For Many Men. Being good over almost every single map, right, and being one of the most, if not the most consistent team in that period in the semi-finals, taking at the end #1 spot for themselves. So you know what, For Many Men, if you want to look at a team that can be consistent and that can take that #1 or top 4 spot away into the finals, it could definitely be them. But right now, maybe you're just a little bit new to the tournament, maybe you just don't know really what we're talking about right now. So quick introduction to how you score some points, because if you're new, we're here to try and bring you guys along the entire way. So if you do take a chicken dinner, of course, it's going to be 20 points going your way, 2nd, 14th, then 10th for 3rd, trickles down over to 11th position where you get 1 point, and everything from 11th and down below will be only 1 point going in your vicinity. And of course, Imperium, as we always like to know, the golden rule: 1 kill rewards you with 1 point.
And those points for kills makes a huge difference. There's a couple of teams inside games, and I would even say MVP in Time to Shine, where they got solid placement points compared to teams around them, but because they got 5 to 10 less kill points, it's a reason why they're, let's say, 2 positions down from where they could have been. It makes a monumental difference, not only because if you go out in 12th, but you have 5 or 6 kills, that's 6 or 7 points, because you get 1 point for placement. And you know, it's also the fact that if 2 teams are on the same points at the end of the tournament, at the end of the finals, the team with the most kills will claim the higher spot.
Exactly. But no, we're talking about like, oh, which team is going to be winning this one, who's going to be the top 4. You know, I'm just going to quote exactly what says I Know Cry in the Twitch chat. I'm voting for all the teams to win, so I always come out on top. You know what? I think that's a very valid way of doing it, and I'm going to say respect to you, I Know Cry in the Twitch chat, and I think that we might try and follow that a little bit so we don't get called biased also in the chat.
Whoa. I'm sorry, Mr. Durham PUBG Mobile World League, where, you know, you may be diplomatic, but I'm going to have this favorite team, I'm going to have that favorite team. Don't try and steal my saying of, hey, look, anybody can win. I have no favoritism. That's
no, if I had 2 kids, I'll have one being the favorite. Of course, the other one right into the trash can. That's okay. That's fine. That's the survival of the fittest, as you might like to say. But they have Imperium. Giving him in the trash. Get him out of here. But with that said, we're slowly going to be diving to our first game. We are a little bit behind schedule, but we should be getting to game #1 on Erangel extremely soon. So you know what? I'm going to take also this time to also explain what we're going to be aiming for here, because, you know, we were thinking we might be having a regional final for some time. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Our plans have been actually changed. I'm going to pop it on screen. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Snappy. There you go. And here we have it. It's actually going to be, instead of the regional finals, we're going to be having 32 teams of Middle East, also from Africa and also from Europe, so we had a little bit of an issue there. And they're all going to be fighting. We're going to be having 32 teams fighting in the EMEA League, and it's going to be fighting for a total cash prize of $100,000 US. Yes, I said it right, $100,000 US. You want me to say it again? Okay, $100,000 US, which is, I got to say, a pretty hefty amount.
Max,
yeah.
Just wait. I know I'm old, so I didn't quite hear that. Could you just repeat that, please?
$100,000 US.
That's
yes.
what I thought. That's what I thought. And it's not just the fact that it's over $100,000 US. It means that there's more hunger, because instead of the top team securing a spot in either the World League or what is now going to be the Global Championship, each qualified team will go to the EMEA, where there's a select number of spots. I believe the top 3 spots, over 32 teams. That means you're really gonna have to pull out of the bag when it comes to the EMEA League and be able to show up that consistency as well. And you're good. You're talking about the mix. You're talking about mixing the CIS, Turkey, Saudi Arabian, all of the regions in one league. And hey, look, we've seen the teams that qualified from Europe and MENA battle against each other with the Americas teams in the World League, and they can definitely go up against each other really aggressively. But when you're talking about the 32 teams of EU and Middle Eastern Africa, man, that's a pretty tasty thought.
Very tasty. You know what? You take all these different metas going up against each other, doing a nice little, potentially a cocktail. But you know what? I'm no chemist, so you know what? We might just mess it up and have a huge explosion happening and just absolute mayhem happening on the battlefield. So we'll have to see exactly what's going to be ensuing. But overall, that is what we can be looking forward to. We'll see if we'll be around there. Hopefully, we'll keep that on our eyes. But let's check that out. With that said, let's refocus a little bit of our attention over here onto the European region. Once again, 16 teams fighting for the past 2 weeks. Now we've got 16 teams. They are ready to go into the finals. And after this, only 4 teams will make it to the next stage, which will be the EMEA League. Struggling because it's such a new tournament. We haven't heard about it too much. But there you go. It's all fine and dandy. And I'm checking on my screen. And we're still not stunning. So we do have then just a little bit of a delay. I'm seeing one player of Polar Race not here. Polar Race. And we know them really well, Imperium. Like, Aegon, get your players in track right now.
Yeah, we're about 3 minutes into getting into the game. Pretty solid stuff indeed. But I really want to talk about UDR killers, right?
Sure.
They're coming into this off not having to do the group stage, not having to do the semis. That's great, because they've been able to stand back, participate in some scrims before and during the PMCO, but also study the teams during the broadcast. And they're coming into this off the back of what was a very credible PUBG Mobile World League finish and battling against the best teams in the PMWO West. Surely that has to put more pressure on them to be in the top 4, right? They are the crowning champions of Europe. They are the team to beat when you really think about it, when you go off the results. I can't help but think that if they don't perform, there's a certain level of, have they got what it takes for the future? That mentality thing is going to be a huge test for them.
It's going to be a really huge test for them. Like, I think that also going into their respective, basically the regional finals, they did struggle a lot, and then they made it on through into PMPL. Like, they had a big surprise to me, at least, and I'm really happy with their performance. Now let's see if they can try and reclaim their crown once again 2 times in a row and just be like Dr. Disrespect and become the back-to-back champions of Europe. We'll keep that in mind. But with that said, I believe with this I hope we're not going to have a remake, because I'm seeing the lobby slowly kicking off on my left side. So hopefully this will actually be the game. So our apologies for the little bit of a delay. It should be the right one, so we'll keep that in mind. Also, as I quickly have a little bit of time to mention this, I'm going to say, if you're going to be enjoying the broadcast today, maybe you don't have to do it right now. You can go and do it later. That's completely A-okay. But if you are enjoying PUBG Mobile Esports, we're covering multitude of different regions all around the globe. And if you are enjoying this content, if you want to support PUBG Mobile Esports in your own little way, what you can do is head on over to esportsawards.com/vote. Head on over to the PUBG Mobile Esports section and vote for it. For PUBG Mobile might just be the esports mobile game of 2020. It's already made it to the finals. Just needs that little extra push to make it and that #1 spot and take his very own respective chicken dinner.
There you go. Exactly. You want to give a chicken dinner back to the game that has given a multitude of teams chicken dinners, futures, careers and opportunities in the world of esports. And I think that's something that, although, you know, people have their complaints to game, you know, etc., etc., the esports side could be better. At the end of the day, the amount of money, time they are putting into esports across the world is amazing. And for mobile gaming, it is, in my opinion, setting the standard.
It's a record in terms of cash prize, like $5 million going over all of different regions, all different tournaments over the course of 2020. That is absolutely mental. But with that said, we've got the plane currently going on our screen. So you know what? I'm going to be bringing our attention over to the plane and see where it will be taking us. And here we go. Erangel, beautiful Erangel 2.0, by the way, is going to be under our wings. We're going to be going from, I believe, the west of Gatka, going all over to, I would say, Stolba. At least 3 as Poliana, if I guessed it properly. And I did once again. That's a little game I like to play in Imperium. Try and guess it from just up above. And I'm right once again. Ah, damn, I'm good at this.
Yeah, it's just, this is a very easy to play for playing path, allowing multiple teams to drop where they want to. MVP are going to be going down toward the southwestern side of the map. You're going to have Polar Ace going to be around them a little bit to the eastern. Few teams that we've seen battle in scrims, UDR Killers and Bloodline. Will they still land in Pachinki, or will Bloodline go towards military base?
Well, as we saw in the scrims, actually, that we casted yesterday, it was actually with Absalom. It was very interesting. They did have a little bit of a fight happening, and Bloodline started going over the military base. So you know what, Bloodline, they're just going to be moving away from that location. UDR Killers will have full ownership of that compound for themselves, which is great to have. And I think that that's a lot of respect from Bloodline, that sometimes might have been a little bit too needy for that compound, but they gave it up, and I think overall that's a good call.
Yeah, Scrim Farm gone to South George, Clay, GLA, and Kratia, Red Reserve, and North George. This is all pretty standard stuff, right? We've had teams, you know, these teams are used to each other by now. You're going to have time to shine around prison. But this phase 1 circle is not ideal for how the teams would want it. You not only have it very southwestern in terms of good 35% water, but with the military island in play, that does add a high level of uncertainty. And if I was Bloodline, considering we don't have a Mega Dragon in the lobby, I would actually switch it up and not go to military base, or only send 2 over to military base and have 2 loot up Ferry Pier, so you have that security inside the mainland.
I mean, Imperium. I mean, we had a lot of hardships recently. I'm just saying. You never know when it might go. Even though the odds are definitely not in their favor, so you would definitely want to try and potentially see them go over to the mainland. Maybe even just loot and quickly rotate away from Sanhok Island would be also a viable play. We'll have to see how that comes on through. But look at these textures. Look at the crates of George Paul being modified. Oh, it's so sexy. I would want to kiss it. There you have it. I said it. I said Imperium.
Oh man, talk about kissing things. Clay GLA will want to kiss the top 4 when it comes to the end of the finals. Group stage had a solid group stage run. I think they end up in 4th place if I'm not mistaken. But then in the semifinals, they kind of spurred on into the finals, only finishing in 13th spot. Like I said, don't get me wrong. That's not saying that, you know, it really matters, because though that was then, this is now. But as a bit of an indication of them maybe being put under more pressure the further we get into the tournament, that mentality factor, right? Could we see them once again sputter in the finals, or could they rise on the occasion?
If they can rise to the occasion today. I mean, it got sale 2 days, so let's see. And we talk about this many times in Imperium. I'm going to ask you this question. Normally, you know, into the semi-finals, I think you mentioned something like, you know, you can afford yourself to lose like 2-3 games. What would be your threshold for this one of games where you can afford to have a bad result and that's it? Like, I would say personally 2, and that's like pushing it, kind of.
Believe it or not, I think 3.
3?
The reason why, okay, so normally I would say 2, but I think there's a certain level of, we've seen teams go from 13th to 7th with one ultra good result, i.e. a chicken dinner and a 10 kill game. And I think there is something to be said where I think when it comes to the finals, as much as consistency is going to be key, that kind of one golden game, especially as we only have 8 games, that one kind of big, you know, chungus of a result will make a really huge difference. Of course, you don't want to leave it to the last 2 games, but I do think you can afford to have 3 bad games.
Okay, so Imperium, as nothing is really happening in the early stage, I have to break this news to you, Imperium. I'm very sorry, but Big Chungus is a dead meme. I'm so sorry. PewDiePie reviewed it. It's official, it's a dead meme, but you know what's also going to be dead? Dexter's dead, just like Big Chungus. There you go, UDR Killers will be picking up the very first kill of this lobby. That's a good segue. I like that.
So...
I'm going to toot my own horn there.
I do like that. So Bet Esports, they had known that UDR Killers like to land around the Pachinki area. They've been on these scrims kind of punishing UDR Killers and even Bloodline. However, based on the circle shift that we've had, it's kind of gone in the opposite direction where UDR Killers have disengaged away from Pachinki early on. They want to get a strong position inside the circle, and they've been able to take out a player of Bet Esports off the back of that. That's nicely done by the UDR boys.
And the reason why they could also make that a lot easier is the fact that Bloodline were not there, so they can just like, okay, we're not going to get backstab as we rotate away from the compound. So it just makes the entire process just a lot easier to pull off. So overall, pretty happy with them. But we didn't talk too much about the circle, which teams had a really good advantage from the get-go. I was actually wanting to talk about MVP Gaming. They normally go down southwest of Gatka Field.
Yeah.
And I think they're a team that has been rotating a lot. Very rarely the circle's going to go in their favor a lot of times in a row. So I think here MVP might have a good game to pull off right off the bat.
True. They have been fantastic when it comes to rotating and getting into the late stage of the game as maybe a 2-man team. 3-man team. What they did lack, and I already touched upon it, was the amount of kills they got in the semifinals, only getting 32 kills. When you look on the teams around them, Scrim Farm ahead of them, Red Reserve ahead of them, both got 42 and 49 kills respectively. And even behind them, Gunna and The Real Deal got 39 and 37. And when it comes to holding a position inside the center of the circle, you do have to be a little bit more aggressive to push teams back. So hope they've trained that a bit more coming into the finals.
Talking about center circle, Polar Ace, they got himself a really, really decent spot to hold on to his high ground. He can check a few little fields, a few little compounds. I think the overall Polar Ace, if they can hold on to that location, I think they can definitely pull off a really, really first game of the day. It's time to shine, mid-rotation, a little bit close to Pachinki, but I think that in the past we had so much action happening into Pachinki that now teams just avoid it like the plague. Like, no, Pachinki, we hate it. Teams are going to shoot us from there. We don't want to get close to it. We don't want to hear its name. We're going to zoom on by.
Yeah, it's also the fact that kind of they're getting a little bit of information on the east of Pachinki, and they're also, of course, as they go in towards the deeper part of the center circle, they're getting information on what's potentially going on around them and in front of them. I fear that it's quite a deep rotation considering how far away they were, i.e. UDR Killers are potentially getting information. But if it works out for them, hey, all credit to time to shine.
All credit to them indeed. So now we saw a few little rotations coming out, especially the teams over to the eastern side. And talking about the east, actually, a lot of the teams that were rotating through there actually were just going up north of the river. And that's a very, very small corridor. So I'm expecting potentially, if you want to see some early fights happen, it could potentially happen on the eastern side of Phase 1 Circle. Just to keep that in mind, as actually, real quick, also a piece of information. Bet Romania is the old 4 Romanian men. So if you're like, where the hell 4 Romanian men? They were top 1 last in the semifinals. It's now Bet X Romania.
Yeah, they got picked up by Bet Esports, and they obviously want to hold on to the Romania part because they have pride in the fact that they're from Romania as a team, and having Bet Romania is kind of the best of both worlds. On a side note, with this kind of circle, you don't want to commit too much to the coastline. You don't really want to commit too heavily to a ferry pier, which is why we're seeing the likes of Godsend and even Bet Romania kind of use the hills and the fields that are more north of the coastal line.
Also, just to mention, WWS of Bet Romania did say that if they won, if they qualified, he'll buy me the most expensive baguette in the world. So you know what? Now it's said on broadcast, it's official. WWS, I'm looking at you. If you win and you do not buy it for me, I'm coming for you. I know where you live. No, just kidding. I don't. I'm memeing.
Frantically Google's most expensive baguette in the world. You know, I must find the baguette.
Happy French boy noises. Oh my god, that circle! What? What? We already saw this in the past Imperiums. These circles are absolute hell to play with. Oh my god.
Hey, it's PMCO Finals. You did kind of say that we've had some hardships. I do think this is okay for Bloodline because it obviously has shifted more away from the military island, and I think they've got the timing of their rotation pretty bang on, sending Aethys forward to be a bit of a scout. However, with it still being a good 40% of water, that's going to put more pressure. We're seeing the real deal in UDR killers rotate past each other.
Yeah, Hackshot, luckily enough, did survive the encounter, and he's going to still take a few shots despite being like 2 HP. That guy has some balls of steel. And UDR Killer is just going to be zooming on by. They're going to be leaving the scene whatsoever because, of course, they're not going to take it as a car rotation. And they're going to go now towards the southern plateau, which is a good position to actually get information from as like a point of interest temporarily for sure. So I think here UDR's got a pretty decent spot to hold on to.
And this is where also the earlier rotation from Time to Shine that I question, was that too deep, has benefited them. So credit where it's due. Now as Godsend, they rotated to a compound held onto by Clay GLA. They were previously towards a compound of Bet Romania, but as this is now closer to the center circle, they want to make this their home.
Yeah, saw a little bit of smoke coming out from Reeves. That allows them to rotate easily from the water tower over to the building just to be able to rotate a little bit more cleanly and efficiently. So that's going to be a pretty useful one. But thinking, Godsend, you know, they're a team that they like to play aggressive. They like their aggressive gameplay. They like getting a lot of kills in their games. I think the Godsend here, they're just like, you know what? If we want to be number one, we want to be number one not because of positioning points, but because of kill points. So you know what? If you get close to us, we're going to make you regret and make you have a hard time.
Well, we know how, as you touched upon, how aggressive they are as a team. Will they, I don't want to say the word, but I haven't mentioned in a while, will they choke? I know I said in the past about how Reeves uses that as fuel for the fire to succeed. And I think that's great. So I'm mentioning it more for him so that he can prove me wrong. He can prove everybody wrong. And that Godsend have what it takes to compete against the best in the world and not just Europe.
You got an Irish caster, you got an Irish pro player. This is the not the European PMCO. This is Irish PMCO. Apparently, this is what we have, and you've got a theme happening. We're enjoying this. It's a fun time overall. Sure.
Be grand.
Sure.
Oh my god!
All the time, Imperium.
Shiver me timbers, you know.
Damn it. Yeah, now really, how this fight's going to be coming on through in this compound, they're going to chuck some utility, some smokes. If they can find initiated, like, especially the first knock, that is when they're going to full send it, right? You want to make the advantage and make use of a knockdown, and grenades are going to be really, really good utility for this fight. Utility, is that a new word? I think I just invented a new word.
You did invent a new word. One thing that worries me about Godsend's positioning is that they're all grouped up together a bit too much, so they're not really able to find different angles. Now, on one hand, if a grenade goes flying up and one of them gets knocked, in theory, there's an easier way to hold on. But if they're looking to really take this team fight, in my opinion, they need to have one player reposition. But is this Reserve getting close to them as well?
I think they're getting close for sure. We're sending the kill feed specifically. A lot of action currently unfolding. So here it is. Victor going to be losing his car. Going to put himself behind that tree. And we'll be pulling off that first aid almost instantly. We saw X Team fighting versus GSG Europe and also Polar Race fighting versus another team. Not sure exactly which one that was, but it seemed like we are starting to have quite a bit of damage happening into the overall lobby. So things are starting to get a little bit heated, mainly because you still got so much water. So time goes by, the teams are getting a little bit closer to each other, and fights will inevitably explode. There you go. I'm having issues with word today.
And, you know, there is this certain level of uncertainty with the circle shifting as we see phase 3 pop up. Okay, it's gone against Military Island, which is definitely beneficial, but this is still a 50% water circle. That's going to put a lot of emphasis on the ferry pier area where we already see Bloodline, Gun, Bet Romania, and UDR killers.
I mean, what the? I mean, we mentioned some hardship potentially happening. I mean, this is very hard to expect, but UDR killers, they got a really good spot. I think they can definitely hold on to this really strongly. And they got a little bit of history, especially into PMCO for the spring split, holding on to this location, taking a few chicken dinners over here. So overall, I think the UDR killers, by experience, they will be extremely good. The real deal, they push down the hill. They're going to be taking a fight on the northern western edge. But now, especially the entire west and north side is going to be clustered with littered with teams, and fights will happen eventually over time.
The good thing is we have seen Ked take down Clown from the real deal, so that's another player taken out for the real deal. The good thing is that compared to the previous patch, the coastal line is a lot more viable, even though I touched upon teams not wanting to be there because it was only phase 2, phase 1. But when it comes into phase 3, phase 4, and it's clearly a coastal line finish, you can play around the beachside area because there's more of kind of cover, there's more area to play around that you're not out in the open.
Not even tanks you can hide behind. How epic is that? But also, what's not going to be epic? Well, Sans not an epic play there. He's going to get taken out right away for Inside Games. Sans, he goes down. And that's going to be also Inside Games taking their fires, taking their shot as Backfire goes down himself, taking the shots versus MVP Gaming a little bit higher up ahead of their location. They're all on the edge, so this fight is not really willing to go for a really long period of time. So if they can disengage, that's the best course of action. But Inside Games, they're pinned. You got MVP Gaming down south of you. You got on the eastern side, you got Polar Race. Like, they can't move too easily from this area.
And then we also see the feed. Godsend, or maybe kicking off the fight against Clay GLA. We'll have to see how that pans out. As Akashi is definitely looking for the sightlines of Dale of Inside Games. Seeing the smokes in around there gives a great indication. Maybe a grenade might get choked out, and that could confirm the kill on the Backfire.
Might be able to make it behind that tree, and because they got a little bit of utility, a second smoke. MVP Gaming don't want to allow that to happen, but MVP, they just also can't leave their building right now. If they leave it, they're just going to be free meat to pick up for Inside Games. Actually, they sent one sneaky player away, maybe trying to put a little bit of a sandwich position and pressure down to MVP Gaming so they can't really move away from this location. I think it definitely has a good idea, but we've seen the Real Deal on Scrim Farm currently taking a fight of their own. So the Real Deal currently in the blue, they're going to be taken down pretty heavily because of this phase 4. They might just lose an extra player because of that. So Azzy will normally go down. They're going to go for the car rotation, but the circle did move away from the water. So this is really good, but currently time to shine. They got the perfect position to take game 1.
And also, Red Reserve made a really great rotation, avoiding a lot of teams going past Godsend and ending up towards the coastal line of Fairy Pier behind Bloodline. That should definitely benefit them greatly. I understand why a lot of teams are playing for the edge of the circle, because there's a certain level of uncertainty of where it was going to go. But now, as you get into phase 4, phase 5, playing on the edge of the circle with it shifting away like it has, puts more pressure on the teams in the western side of the map.
X team, they made it into the circle. That's great. Same for the Real Deal. But right above them, there's going to be another team, and that's going to be MVP Gaming moving away from that position of that 5 versus Inside Games. We're already under fire pretty heavily. One player is going to be put pretty damn low, but the Real Deal trying to buy as much time as possible with those smokes, with that utility, as grenades will be ensuing from Spray. Going to connect for himself. One flush and one knockdown. Great nades coming out from the side of the Real Deal.
And that is going to be MVP taken out of the game. 12 teams, 42 players up with the Real Deal. They are definitely not out of the woods just yet. X team are looking to come in. Nightmare gets a lovely spray on the Spray.
Lovely spray onto Spray. There you go. Sending back his own medicine. As Andy actually going to go for wide angle. I mean, they put the hurt. They got the first knockdown right. They want to try and potentially eliminate this entire team. We already lost 4 teams in this lobby, and they have it. The Real Deal. They're going to be team number overall 5 in this game to go out. So now 11 teams will still remain. X team playing on the edge, and the edge is definitely better to play with because it's such a flat terrain on top of the plateau. Whoever goes center is going to get shut down by so many teams around them. It's a huge risk to take, but Maskoff going to go down. Nice shot from Zombie with a TP28 through the smoke, almost able to find Elusive. Zombie, you got to stop this guy. He's insane.
It's more the fact that X team are playing aggressive, and when you play Edge of Circle, there always comes a time and place in the game, especially phase 4 onwards, where you have to grab the edge of that circle by the palm of your hand and reign as supreme. But I know who's willing to take that away. That's Ked. Dude, Ked things with the DP28.
Nah, Ked doing Ked things is when he's rushing into a compound solo. That's what Ked likes to do. We'll see. But there's not many compounds remaining in this one, so Ked maybe not quite able to do his true Ked watermark plays. The X team slowly taking their time. They want to heal up from down below, from the roadside. There's going to be a few teams taking those shots on their side. Zombie will normally get rezzed up with that utility coming out. So we'll be fine, but phase 5 is just around the corner. Let's see where it's going to be taking us. But if it keeps on going on the plateau area, this is not going to be a very fun game to play around, because if you rotate late, you're going to get absolutely battered by the teams around you. As actually Fury Pier is pretty much filled up with teams.
It is. You got Red Reserve down on the real coastal line by the actual pier. You have Bloodline, you have Gun. I'm talking about Gun there, looking towards WWS of Bet Esports. That nice drop shot coming through, leaving Rana on his own, cooking up a grenade.
I don't think Herb's intended to drop right there, but you know what? He finds the kill. He's going to flush on WWS. That's completely okay, but now you're going to suffer the wrath of the blue zone, and that is what's going to be happening right there. Phase 5 is coming around, so you're going to be taking even more damage. It seemed like Rana of Bet Romania is just going to go for the heal strat, just try and survive as long as possible. He's got a lot of meds to play around, but I think he definitely will try and potentially find it. Is a little sneaky nick and cranny to hide into the circle. We'll see if that's going to be coming on through. But Herbs, I think he heard the footsteps. He's actually wanted to shut down here, Bet Romania. He's going for the kill. He is thirsty for blood. Herbs is just going to be stem prone down, and hell no, he might be working right into his open arms. Going to go for another first aid. Now I heard the footsteps of Herbs. The information has been given over 1v1 between Gun and Bet X Romania. Now, another first aid. Trying to use as many first aid. Just break. First aid. Then we fight again. Break. First aid. We're going to fight again. He's going to go for the fight. Herbs, can he find a kill? Yes, he will drop down. But Herbs, you're ticking down very heavily, my friend. You got to go for the first aid. And he will indeed get eliminated right after. But you know what? That's an extra positioning point going their way. But still at that stage, that's still only 1 point for you.
It's more the fact that he's been a sacrificial lamb. By taking out the last player of Bet Esports, even if he goes down in the process, he's securing the edge of the circle for a Gun, meaning there's a much higher chance they're going to get into the top 4, top 5 coming into the later stages of the game. So really great play coming out from Gun.
Really good stuff. Here it is. X team, they're going to be going down. This circle did shift pretty harshly. And they're going to make their way back into the compound. Scrim Farm, Godsend, still going to be around in their vicinity, so they're going to try and contest it away. But we talked about it. They are freaking tanks now on the beaches of Erangel. And they're going to use it to pretty good avail. Scrim Farm, really good grenade, going to be chucked towards Godsend, but right into the car, I believe. So maybe not having as much of an impact as they were expecting. There it is, actually taking quite a bit of tick damage. Red Reserve popping into the kill feed pretty heavily onto X team. And X team, I think, are maybe going to be going out very soon, so they've got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, but of course, a couple of members of Red Reserve are knocked down, so those revives are going to have to be executed up. Godsend under a bit of pressure, but they're able to heal up. Scrim Farm in front of them. They only have 2 players up. Chucking up a grenade by Jody, just trying to create a little bit of space. They are yet to get inside the circle. And now Rokus is going to shoot up. Not quite connecting onto Jody, but once again, trying to make a similar strat. And that's where he gets into vehicle and he's going to put himself forward.
Yeah, they send a few smokes forward just so they can put the car inside and it can potentially protect their location. Really well executed from them. But Godsend is still pressured pretty heavily by Scrim Farm, and Utility will come on through pretty close to Reeves. Explodes mid-air, but unfortunately not going to be... He's going to be a little bit overcooked. So you know what? Godsend will still keep Reeves on his feet. With the circle about to close up, and Phase 6 will be just around the corner once again. But Scrim Farm, they already saw the rotation coming up on one of the other players. Godsend, so they need to move themselves. Oh my god, they also lose Scrim Farm. How do you survive? By the skin of their teeth, but they make their way into the circle, and now they can potentially gatekeep it away, but Scrim Farm will eventually go down in 9th position. 8 teams still remain.
Somebody had to make the call, right? Somebody had to kind of go towards the circle first. If it wasn't Godsend, it was going to be Scrim Farm. Fortunately, it was Scrim Farm indeed. They got punished in the process. Red Reserve are doing a great job of being inside the circle, down on the south side, and punishing teams on the outskirts. We do still have 7 teams left, 25 players. Gun are going to go out at the hands of Bloodline.
Ooh, talking about Bloodline. Circle's going to go in the direction of Bloodline, so they're going to be able to make really good use. Red Reserve, they went towards the pier area of Ferry Pier, and they're going to be trying to hold on to that location. But so far, the northern and western side are pretty much unoccupied. You got Time to Shine, Polar Race, X-Team, and Godsend. They can try and take ownership of that area if they really want to, even though it's a pretty hard terrain to really move into.
Yeah. It's out in the open, so you've really got nowhere to go once you're in there. Nowhere really to hide, unless you have a hell of a lot of utility and also core information.
Information is going to be key going into this one. Bloodline. I'm going to move a little bit further onto the western, onto the eastern side, should I say? So that's going to be okay. Athis, he's got himself enough angle. This guy's been absolutely insane as of recently into the scrims. So you got to be careful of this dude. He might just clutch out your entire team. But Godsend and X-Team, they're still popping off very, very heavily into the kill feed. And intrigued to see who's going to be coming out on top of that. I think Godsend, they got 2 players knocked away. They might just get eliminated if they lose Navi. I think the Navi is just about to go down. There you go.
And that's the end of X-Team as far as I know, with Red Reserve picking up a bit of a third party to knock down a member of Godsend. There's just one thing that I noticed. If it's not UDR Killers and Bloodline getting close to each other at the start of these games, it's at the end. They're right beside each other on the eastern side.
Oh, damn, right next to each other and Time to Shine. They want to join this party. They want to get involved with UDR Killers and Bloodline. They want to take that compound for themselves. And we hyped up UDR Killers as a team that they dominated last season in the spring split. Let's see if they can dominate also into the full split for this one. Because GR still a 4-man team. They've got 4 kills currently under their name. Can they pick up a little bit more as now, especially going to be seen on the western edge? Polar Race, they're slowly going to be trying to just crawl their way into the circle. But as we said earlier at Imperium, it's a pretty open space, making it really hard to hold on to specific locations. And Polar Race is just going to be going for the fight right on the backside of Time to Shine. Swave will still remaining, going to go for the kill themselves. Polar Race, here it is. They're slowly going to be taking a fight. They already got 8 kills in Imperium this game. They're popping off on the first game.
Yeah, they've been able to take out Godsend eventually. Godsend survived for far too long. They did a great job for it, but now it's Time to Shine. They can stay prone down and allow UDR Killers to take out Polar Race, and maybe Time to Shine can find the right time to strike on the third party.
This is Ked doing Ked things. He's getting close and personal. Then, boom, he's going to strike onto the opposing team. That's going to be Time to Shine's Will, Swave still holding on strong, but now they're sandwiched up between them and also UDR Killers. So that is where it might just be a little bit too tricky for Time to Shine to survive it. Now, a little bit of a heal time, taking their time once again. Phase 7 is going to be popping in just a few extra seconds. And if it goes over to the western side, this is going to be such an hilarious game because everyone so far is going to be up north, east, and south. And the western side, and even the center, is completely unoccupied, Imperium.
It's good for Red Reserve if it shifts to the west because they've been there for quite a while. They know teams have been taken out along the process, but as we see teams edging closer, the circle goes in the favor of Bloodline. Time to Shine on the Polar Ace. UDR on the Polar Ace. Can Polar Ace survive this?
Oh, I think actually UDR Killers, they changed their focus from Polar Ace over to Time to Shine. Sandro right behind the tree. Be careful, Swave with the UMP is going to be able to find himself the knock onto Sandro. UDR down to now 3 players. And now here it is, Polar Ace and UDR Killers working hand in hand and eliminating Time to Shine together.
Oh man, I feel bad for Swave because he's done such a good job. UDR were focused on him. He had to strike. He struck, but from behind, Polar Ace took control. The focus on the kid, leaving Polar Ace with 2 players off. Maskoff is going to stay alive. Savage X is going to go down, and it's all down to Maskoff to try and keep the hopes and dreams alive for Polar Ace.
Mask off, gloves on. Mask off shows what he can do. Grenade will be coming out from Focus. Not cooked too much in a way. Could potentially dodge if he really wants to. It will be a little bit shortly thrown over. As a loser, if you can pretty much count him out as dead meat, the blue zone is going to be pushing Mask off away from that tree. But UDR Killers actually shifting their focus now over to both Bloodline and Red Reserve. Might be the redeeming factor for this team of Polar Ace to survive.
Oh, that's a bit risky, Focus. I know you're going to vehicle, so he gives you protection. Nice prone entity. All I'm looking for down on the side of the wall.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be trying to make a little bit of a box score with those cars. Here it is. Nano going to be taking the fight with his usually going to be switching over to the DP28. But DP28 close range does some big damage. But the bloom is a little bit surprising from time to time as Ali's going to get flushed away by Nano. Here it is. Going to be kill number 10 going over to UDR. But Sandro will go down himself in the center of the circle as Red Reserve tried to contest it away.
Yeah, nice third party coming out from Frost to get the knockdown on Sandro. Eagles is going to go down on his knees as Kapahala with the Groza looking for the last player of UDR.
Big boy Groza. Let's see what he can do. Let's see how you can make the Groza sing. Is Nano going to try and heal up with the first aid? Last second, you know he's going to have to potentially take a 1v3 versus Bloodline, and the car's going to explode right into his face. Nano goes down, Bloodline down. The steal 3 players compared to the other side where UDR down to only 1. That's going to be Pocus actually on the mountaintop. I think they saw him right there. No way, they didn't see that one pixel out of place, and Pocus right next to Class, and I think Class by being prone still gathers information over to Frost. Grenade comes out because of the information, and that's going to be the end of that. UDR Killers get eliminated in 3rd position. Still a really good first game, and that is all between Red Reserve and Bloodline.
3v2 revive coming out once it's going to be executed. Of course, the circle goes in the favor of Red Reserve, but Bloodline, they have the man advantage. They can wrap around either side, sandwich Red Reserve, and take them out like a juicy baguette by Maxman.
I don't think Baguette's not supposed to be juicy, but we'll overlook that statement. That's okay. Bloodline got a little bit of a split coming out from Athis. He could try and get a little bit of an off angle onto Red Reserve where they might just not quite expect it. They still got quite a bit of utility since earlier. Potentially a few extra grenades could make the difference versus Red Reserve. Currently a 3v2. But really, Bloodline, they're taking their time to rotate in. Knowing that they're the furthest away from the circle, Red Reserve, they really took ownership. And I love this split Imperium from Red Reserve. Got Frost on the more southern side. Northern side's up for Class. He's got behind that rock. Overall, this is a split that's really good to defend that circle.
Yeah, because grenades are so prevalent, they have to spread themselves out, but no! Kapahala with the Groza that pops off on the Kalas. Now it's just Frost left standing.
Oh, the Groza sings so damn well. You love to see it. Now Frost, let's see how he can make sing is Yuzi. He's getting pushed left, right. This is really good push coming out from the Bloodline team. I think it's going to be spotted out to the right side. I think they got information. They're going to be flushing out. Actually, Class right away, but he's behind the car. Going to be able to find himself one flush. You got to look behind you, Frost. What is happening? He's going to be reloading. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 is going to be won by none other than Bloodline. They got a lot of supporters, a lot of fans in the chat. And what a better way to kick off your finals.
And it's also, what a better example than to use for them saying, hey, there's no point in us dropping in Pachinki with UDR Killers. We'll let it go over to them. We'll claim the chicken dinner at the end of the game. Nicely done. I wasn't sure if they were going to handle that phase 1 circle so effectively, but because they didn't hang around the military island as much as other teams would, they got into the mainland. They took control of the Ferry Pier area on phase 2, phase 3 onwards, and then taking out Gun was a huge aspect to them closing out the chicken dinner. Luckily, UDR Killers were more distracted on the teams up towards the northern side, and then when it came down to it, Bloodline, Kapahala with the Groza, getting the job done. really great start for them.
I mean, they went to military base. They looted so damn quick. Then instant response going over to Fairy Pit was really clean, very snappy, and that is what you like to see. Overall, Red Reserve, I think, also had a really good call going over to the western side. They had a really good split. Unfortunately, Class did lose his own respective trade, so that's the reason why they did get eliminated in second. But overall, it was seeing UDR Killers and UDR Killers and Bloodline fighting like, we don't want to be a part of this. Like, F that fight. We don't want to be involved. We're going to go straight to the western side and let the teams come to us. And overall, that was a good call from Red Reserve, allowing them to get from third position to second.
It was also kind of a top-heavy kill game, and that's partly because of the way their circle shifted up, so you weren't really too confident in the center of the circle unless it shifted in your favor in the next phase. So when you look at it, you know, you had X team have 6 kills in 6th place, but every team down below that only had 2 or 3 kills, and even the bottom, I think the bottom 5 teams had 0 kills. So it just kind of shows that a little bit of circle look for sure for the likes of Bloodline, UDR Killers, and Red Reserve. But then again, Red Reserve, Polar Ace, and Godsend really fought and rotated very effectively to earn those points. I'd say the one team that probably missed the opportunity the most was Gun. I don't know what went wrong for them, but considering they were around the Fairy Pier area with Bloodline and UDR Killers, in theory, there was no reason why they couldn't be one of the teams who are fighting in the top 3, top 4.
I want to give a lot of respect to 2 teams specifically. That is Godsend and Scrim Farm. Like, they went from the rotation on the more western edge, and they were like the hard shift. They were really struggling with those, and it just went with smokes. And the smoke rotations, I gotta say, from Reeves to the entire Godsend team and Scrim Farm were pretty clean. But at one point, you have no more smoke, so you really, with your back up against the blue zone, should I say, you got to force your way into the circle. They did go down because of that, unfortunately. But overall, I think they pulled it off the best they potentially could, but it's just a really hard rotation. So still a lot of props going over to Godsend and Scrim Farm. So there you have it. That's going to be game number 1 in the books. And even though I think we don't really have too much to win from it, I propose we maybe go check out the global standings, see exactly what we're playing with right here. Boom, let me refresh it. There we go. It's currently refreshed. Let's go and check it out. As Bloodline up there with 27 points, picking up 7 kills along the way. But like, it's so top heavy in terms of kills. Do you see that? Like 7, 8, 11, 10, 8, 6.
That's what I was talking about.
So low after that. Jeez.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. It was just mainly down to the kills rather than the teams that, let's say, you know, so to speak, perform badly. Bet, GSG, Clay, Inside Games. It wasn't really because they made mistakes. It was just kind of circles, wrong time, wrong place. Maybe there's always going to be, hey, we could have done this better, but there wasn't really anything that heavily stood out. It was more the fact that the likes of X Team, Godsend, you know, Polar Ace were able to capitalize off the circle shifts going either in their favor or make it easier for them to rotate at the end of the day. And what's good is that no one team, you know, it wasn't like a 35-36 game from the winning team, right? So it means there's only 5 points difference. This is only 1 game. 3 more today, 4 more tomorrow. I feel like this is going to be a pattern we see across the finals.
I'm really happy personally it was time to shine. Like, really, like I'm a little bit like, I said it before this, going into the scrims, they would like get 14th, 15th, 16th position a few times in a row from time to time also. And I think that here kicking it off was like really 7 position points, 2 extra kills on top of that. Sure, it's not insane, it's not mental, it's not a big chicken dinner or like a 20, 30, 40 point game, but still, it's the start of maybe a good consistent series from them. So you know what I'm going to say? Time to shine, continue on that axis, keep on going, and he might just make it, because that, in my opinion, is way better than what I've seen recently in the scrims.
That's fair, but to maybe be a spanner in the works, or at least throw a little bit of negativity in that, is the fact that they've struggled on Miramar and Sanhok, which are the next 2 maps. You know, where are they gonna suddenly come into the fold on those 2 maps? If they do, awesome, and I want them to, right? I really do want them to, but you know, if they can't get the strong result on the maps that they're strong at based on previous performances, it just makes it harder on the maps that they're not as good in.
Exactly, but we said it right at the very start of the broadcast, and I'm going to say it again, consistency is going to be key, especially when you do not have that double Erangel. I think time to shine, as you mentioned earlier in Pyramid, they were potentially having a lot of hopes getting those good results on a lot of Erangel games, but we only have 2 Erangel games over the course of these 2 days. You got to be good on Vikendi, Miramar, and Sanhok all together. with that said, you know what? That's going to be it for game number 1. We still got 3 more to come. We got Miramar, Sanhok, Vikendi. Next one is going to be actually on Miramar. So you want to see some, you know, sweaty, desserty. Is that a word? Desserty. Basically, very sandy.
But that's more for the sweet food, like, you know, an apple pie or, you know.
Sandy. There you go. Sandy is actually Sandstorm's nickname. You know what we're going to say? A very sandy game. We're going to be back for some sandy action in just a few short minutes. See you guys in just a bit.
Roy's countering. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot from behind. Unsuccessful on that. J7 coming in for the support.
Roy's trying to counter it. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot from behind. Unsuccessful on that. J7 coming in for the support.
Thank you so much for waiting. That was a very short break. You know what? Very snappy stream today. We're getting right into game number 2. We've got 50 seconds before we dive into it. My name is still Maxman. His name is still, of course, Sexy Imperium. And we're ready to jump to the sexy game number 2. There you go. You're cute, you're sexy, you're everything Imperium. You're getting all of the compliments today.
Yeah, boy. My boy Maxman. My beautiful, beautiful human French being.
Human?
Maxman.
You're wrong on that.
What? You're not a being?
I mean, French people are not humans. We know that. You should know that, Imperium. This is fake.
But see, here's the thing. You're an exception to the rule. That's how awesome you are. You're an exception to the rule.
So that means if I'm not... So wait. So I'm human, but I'm French. And I was adopted. Oh my God.
Don't you say that all the time? Anyway, you know what I find hilarious about this is that you always say that your parents tune in to watch this stream and they're like, oh my God, why is Maxon saying that he's adopted? Does he not love us anymore?
Yeah, my parents are going to think I'm really ungrateful. But you know what? No, they bought me ice cream earlier, so I'm happy boy. They bought me some ice cream. There we go. But anyways, plane is going to be high in the sky. And you know what? It's going to be also high. The level of gameplay in this lobby. God damn. Game number 1, insane. UDR Killers, Red Reserve, Bloodline. Showing up to the party right off the bat, Imperium. Really happy with their performance.
Yeah, really strong stuff indeed. It was, as I said, the circle to begin with, the circle shifting did have an impact where it didn't really give some of the teams actual chance to perform, so to speak. So I'm hoping this Miramar game, as we do see the playing path going from the northeast down to southwest, a much better chance to really show us what they can do in the finals. I'm gonna say, even though it's only game 2, that means that like after this game there's only 6 games left, but you can afford to let the first game slip, let it go, and come into the second game with the best mindset you can.
I was going to say let it go, but we're on Miramar, we're on Vikendi, so I'll keep that one for later. As right off the bat, we're going to see Gaijin going for Torre Almada, Campo Militar, the very, I call them the very passive compounds of Miramar. And overall, I like that reason why they barely qualified. We've got to say what is true, Imperium. They barely qualified, 15th position into the semi-finals. So they are maybe a little bit scared going into these games. So just like, you know what? We're going to go for passive compound. I like this call from Gaijin. I think it's respectful and it makes sense knowing what happened in the semis.
It's also the fact that they could, not necessarily in the early parts of the game, it makes sense. But they're also possibly in the mindset of, we've got nothing to lose. Yeah, we just scraped on by. Who else scraped on by when it came to the PMCO? UDR Killers in the last bit, and they ended up qualifying. So Gaijin, with this circle shifting on the western side, there is plenty of space, even though the real deal will possibly end up going towards El Poldo to loot up, or they might stay around the water treatment area. But either way, Gaijin, all you have to do is take that main line down from Le Cabre area across Crater Fields, get a lot of information on the high ground of Crater Fields, and maybe set yourself up onto the high ground outside the fields of Monte Nuevo.
It's their way or the highway, and the highway might just be the better way and option for Gaijin on this one. Just wrap up north over to the west, easy peasy, just read your circle and you should be fine. UDR Killers and next team actually pretty close to each other going to Monte Nuevo. Their team though did tend to fight quite a little bit in the past, and in the past actually it was X team that won it versus UDR Killers.
Yeah.
So let's see if it might happen onto this second game.
It looks like a lot of teams are bunched up close to each other, and there is an element of truth to that, but that's mainly because the playing path was so central that teams are kind of drop looting into, or split dropping, should I say. So it looks worse than what it is, but once we have the teams kind of settle into their looting phase and then pick a time to rotate, we should see a bit more space created with the teams in between each other.
Talking about rotations, I was pretty happy with that first game. No, the circle was definitely not easy. I think we can both state that and both agree with that, Imperium. That was not an easy game. Oh yeah, for sure. There you go. That's a very good description, Imperium. And teams did rotate really well. So overall, I'm expecting some really good rotations, really good games over here on Miramar. Yes.
And a team, when you look at this circle on phase 1 of Miramar, a team that's probably going to have to execute another strong rotation like they did in Erangel is Red Reserve, because they are in Impala on the east. It's not the worst because they aren't the furthest away from the circle, but when you think about the playing trajectory and the fact that a lot of teams did drop around kind of the edge of the coastline / center of the edge of the circle / center of the circle, it could be a bit trickier for Red Reserve. Again, if they leave it too late, they're going to be going into the edge of the circle with a lack of information. If they do too early, they might come across too many teams. Timing is imperative on Red Reserve's drop spot.
I think that's something through the scrims recently that I've seen them improve on quite a bit on Miramar. They would just send one player on forward. Could be Class, could be Frost. Really depends from time to time. And then they would just rotate on the edge of the circle, just step by step. And I think that's already a really big improvement compared to what we saw in the past on Red Reserve. So overall, I think compared to Spring Split and Full Split, I think this is Red Reserve 2.0. And I think that Red Reserve 2.0, they can make it to the EMEA League.
Oh, yeah. They popped off. Let's be fair. They popped off big time in the semifinals. When you consider how much they somewhat struggled in the group stage and even scrims leading up to the group stage, it was like a different beast. As you said, Red Reserve 2.0 seemed to come to fruition with the new Erangel 2.0 update. And I think part of that is I think a little bit of mindset. From talking to Class a little bit, he had talked about how he's just trying to adjust and evolve his mindset. So when it comes to the pressure moments of a game, that instead of, losing it, or instead of maybe, it falling apart in front of him, that composure is proven to be beneficial, and it's helping to get a much better result for the side. And it as I said, it's shown.
Also, Class's profile picture is a kid now of ReZero. So you know what? It's got a soft place in my heart. Imperium is an anime I love, and he loves too. So you know what? There you go. Red Reserve. Let's see if you can do. May the weeb power be on your side. At Scrim Farm, in my favorite compound, Picardo. Reason why: easy rotations, is in the circle. Overall, I'm expecting a lot of good stuff, at least in the early stage from Scrim Farm.
Scrim Farm are such a good team. Let's be straight up. They are a really strong team. They've got incredibly dynamic roster. Heko is a beast when he pops off, as is Jaja, Jody, and Lunu. They also even have that fifth player, which is still able to provide Abstract, I believe it is, that's still able to provide something different for the side. And I've seen clips of them in game when they popped off. In terms of the in-game leading is very clear, in my opinion. And yeah, I've been consistently impressed overall by how Scrim Farm have developed and evolved throughout the PMCO.
Just wanted to mention, we saw Kalejia there for seconds. It's a very small thing, but they put their car inside the warehouse. Reason why, just make sure that teams can't come around, pop the wheels of it, put some damage on the car, so you can just facilitate your rotation. But you got Godsend, you got UDR Killers, you also got yourself Bloodline, all involved, mixed up, intertwined in between each other. Looking a little bit weird. Looks like the beast from the thing. Everyone get mixed up all together. And here it is, going to be going for the push onto Marley. But Marley's going to be healing up. And you know what? He can't stop the opposition of Alan pushing onto his little shack. This is my shack. Wait, let's pull up a little bit of switchery now. Alan's got the high ground playing with the Scar. The Scar will be winning over for Marley. And now he could just go for the flush onto Alan. A little bit of a weird push. This situation is very weird to me, Imperium.
Yeah, but that was really nicely done by Marley, because instead of playing around the other side of the shack that All-In headed towards, he decided to use the downhill area where the rest of his team are heading towards anyway. So he had that backline support. He had the low ground. He could peek and shoot, and that's where he was able to execute that clean knock. And now that confirmed kill, putting the advantage into hands of Godsend.
Bloodline, they're going to be actually getting pushed upon by Godsend himself. Neurofen's going to go down. He's going to definitely need one Neurofen to heal up from that one. Now, Bloodline down to 2 players. Going to be Athis, going to be Kapahala. Kapahala made that Groza sing in game number 1, allowing them to pick up their very first chicken dinner in the finals. And now they're just going to survive on the side of the mountain. They're in a position where it's going to be really hard to rotate away. If Godsend see Kapahala or Athis, they're going to get pinned in between them and a hard place, which is going to be this mountain. And Bloodline, I don't think they can make it out alive if the information's given over, Imperium.
It is important that both these teams don't get too tunnel visioned, because the phase 1 is closing in. I know they are pretty well inside the circle, but teams could definitely be going close by. Marley with those sprays and that bolt action is pretty nice.
You know that meme of Kian Peel, like just like sweating big drops, like just oh my god, that is Bloodline right there. They are sweating, man. And they escape. You know what? They're just going to try and wrap around. Some utility will come on through. But this is a position where it's going to be very predictable to take your shots. And Godsend, they most of the time, they're known as being relentless, not allowing their prey to escape. Yes, prey. I call them prey because Bloodline, they're definitely not in the strengthful position they might expect to be in. Now Godsend are just going to see them making it up. And Bloodline might be safe.
One might say they're in the line for blood.
I didn't not get that. What?
They're called Bloodline and in the line for blood.
Oh, I thought you said lion. I was like, what? I thought
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. I'll let you away with that one. As phase 2 does center up quite nicely, something tells me, and I believe we saw it in scrims, Picado finish, Max?
You know what? All I want is a Picado finish. I casted one Picado finish recently, and it felt so goddamn good.
Was that with me or was
that was with you? It was actually, I believe it was PMCO.
Yeah.
I believe it was PM. No, it was not PMCO. It was not PM. It was CIS. There we go. That was CIS scrims. That was a fun time indeed. But here, not CIS, is going to be Europe. And gauging. You know what? They went exactly for the rotation. The highway they went indeed. They're going to go for the wraparound up northwest of the circle. That should be A-okay. You know, killers from down below. Godsend and Bloodline, they can work hand in hands. I really put the hurt down to Godsend to eliminate them really quickly. The Godsend's just got to be wary because this slope can be a little bit tricky. Ooh.
And now the real deal coming in to get a little bit of cheeky third party, knock down a member of UDR Killers. And that's something that I kind of talked about with Bloodline and Godsend. Even though it hasn't been either of these teams, as the circle shrinks in, even on phase 2, especially in Miramar, where you have a lot of open terrain, you can't be tunnel visioned, you can't be narrow-minded. You have to be able to look, be prepared on a 360 degree angle, because you've seen it happen with UDR Killers. They've now gotten punished.
Yeah, UDR just going to put a lot of smokes there to try and survive. Oh my god, Azzy, you better move away from this area right here, right now. It might be a little bit of a tricky spot. Poker's going to have some utility coming his way. Should be completely fine. But you know what? Today is international. Compliment your co-cast today. You know what? We're seeing a lot of stuff. Imperium is sexy. It's cute. We said it earlier. But also, someone in the chat session just said, did Imperium have a haircut? There you go. Someone saw you had a haircut, Imperium.
Oh,
that's why you're looking like a snack. There you go. The haircut. It makes a huge difference.
Oh, thank you very much, guys. You just know, exactly. I genuinely feel good for that. Thank you. It really means a lot. But man, I'm kind of a little bit.
He's blushing, guys. You can't see it, but he is. He's all red.
Oh. Yeah, I genuinely am a little bit red. Talking about red, Red Reserve on the eastern side of the map. The good thing with this phase 2 shift, Max, is that a lot of teams are on the western side of Picado, between north and south west. So in theory, they kind of have a lot more room to play around compared to other teams. Not too many teams dropped around the Los Leones side, so we're seeing kind of a bit more space and availability for them to rotate, of course, prepare for the next circle shift, possibly even punish a team or two, and get into the late stages of this game.
Just got a nice little pivot point overall. Polar Race, actually very spread from each other. You know what? I'm okay with scouting. They're a little bit maybe too spread. Like if a team wants to push on their location on this compound of where Ked is, can they hold on to it? It might be a little bit tricky. So as long as they're aware and reactive to teams getting close by, I'll be completely okay with it. As Andy gonna be popping off that mini 14, but no shots will be connecting on the other side of the real deal.
One thing that I wanted to mention when I got distracted by being complimented, which I'm hardly going to argue, is that one thing that might hurt UDR Killers in the late game, presuming they get there, is the utility that was used to revive Pocus. I think there was at least 3 smokes that were used, and you might think, well, it's only 3 smokes. If they don't, replenish that, that's 3 less valuable smokes coming into phase 5, phase 6, phase 7.
Maybe they made it just to like smoke him up and then make a little bit of a smoke road over to the warehouse just in case. Maybe he didn't have time to heal. So maybe there was an idea behind it. So we'll see how that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Picado, Power Grid, and the southern side of San Martin will still be in place. So high ground is going to be extremely valuable for this one. Godsend. I mean, they're already wrapping around pretty central. Like, they can have so much information and pressure in this game. Like, Godsend, I'm expecting a lot of kills in the kill feed right now.
Look how quick they are to react, though, Max.
Instantly
reacting. And look at Gun. Gun are slower to react, which means, in theory, if it goes right, Godsend could push back Gun into the hands of Red Reserve, gain more control of the high ground. I know it's a vast high ground, but all it takes is for one of your players to get spotted out. However, Gun might be thinking, look, we don't have to move. We're well inside the circle. Why move if we don't have to? And that also makes sense.
We'll see if Godsend will do a Louis of box gaming, just going to 90 degrees up with the car and make it to the mountain. I'll see. I remember that one there. I remember really good casting also from Blank and John on that one. Was really fun to see.
The reaction was just like, okay.
That was mental. I want to see that happen once again in my lifetime. And I want to be the one to cast it.
Of course. Always.
Going to be having next team. Just no going for the little rotation. No, talking about rotations. Oh, I'm seeing one that's going to be struggling quite a bit. I believe that was Clay Gillet. They were really fast, just like Sonic, you know, not able to render on my screen properly. I'm pretty sure that's Clay Gillet. 4-man car rotation. That was a risky move. But you know what? They made it unscathed. I'm not going to judge.
Well, you know, it is Miramar, so maybe they're looking for all the gold rings.
They got... Oh, Sonic. Okay, that's another... I just said Sonic, so you brought... Good job, Imperial. There you go. There you go.
The real deal, Gaijin. They're looking to clash. UDR Killers might be in for the mix. Ulysses has sent himself forward. The real deal, they have to be very careful.
Yeah, very careful, but he's going to be careful on his shots. He's going to go for the engagement to Azzy of the real deal. Just splitting up a little bit, going for a nice little line, trying to widely spread himself so they can get the engage onto Gaijin. They got high ground, they got low ground. That's going to be a huge advantage. And now Hatshot, by that widespread, they're just surrounding and suffocating the Dobo. And that kill's going to go instantly in their pocket. I mean, Hatshot going downhill, that was a super smart play. I love seeing that happen.
It was just a really quick reactive response from the real deal. They heard the vehicles, they knew what was coming, and they prepared themselves effectively. Brilliantly done. And not only have they gotten the kill, but they've pretty much pushed back Gaijin. And even though the circle has gone away from the real deal, it just speaks volumes for how much overall easier it's going to be for the real deal to focus on now finding position in the next circle without having Gaijin hanging around them.
Gaijin did just really taking their time on that rotation. As the UDR Killers still holding on to this warehouse. I mean, it's been working out pretty good for them, so they're just going to be holding on to it as strongly as they possibly can. But the Blue Zone's not going to be on them. And now he's still got Bloodline. Kappa Harlan, that is still alive for so damn long. Really impressive stuff. And now this is going to be forcing UDR into a corner, or mainly into a field, which you're not really cornered as I say that. But you know what? But still, technically speaking, they are cornered. They're going to have to push their way through out of the blue zone and into the open loving arms of Bloodline. So to keep that in mind, as GS Europe going to be crashing into the compound of X Team, and Simultaneity will be instantly popped away by the side of GSG.
It's 4v3, although one of the members of GSG is not inside the compound. Polarace could be third-partying from the side, but with grenades going flying, Andy looking to get spotted out by Andalita. Andalita has to be very careful with his positioning.
Gotta be careful as they got one player flushed away, and that's going to be the Molly of Beg for Mercy, able to find himself low, and now they're down to only 2. Andalito still going to be trying to run his way through closer to his allies so they can take the fight towards X Team, but X Team, they are relentless on this fight, and they're going to keep on pushing forward. Oh, Andalito, but Andalito actually wins that trade-off, and back behind the smoke he goes, but know what? That's not going to be enough. Nightmare finds the angle, and that's going to be another one coming out from Beg for Mercy also, and X Team going to go and try and heal up from their wounds, but Levy is over there. If he gets close enough, finds the angle, he can maybe get the hurt onto X Team, but here that's just an utter destruction from the side of X Team.
Can I also talk about that phase? The next phase is outside of these two teams' position, so they do have to move right now as the blue zone's closing in. It's phase 4 blue zone. That's not going to help them.
Oh, comes in the car rotation, and he hears it. Oh my god, they all go out.
No way.
Let's see if they can go for the shots. Oh my god, here it is. It's going to be unfolding. Oh my, okay, you know what? X Team made it over to the other side. That was a little bit scary. I am not going to lie. I thought the Bloodline were just going to utterly destroy X Team. You know what? They've survived it once again. Like, a lot of 4-man car rotations not getting punished. Hey, surprising.
Bloodline, they know that they were in an awkward position. They only have 2 players up. Because they're an aggressive team, even playing outside the circle / edges circle, I think is just a viable option for them right now. Of course, it has the risk of them being chunked out, taken out, of course, but it makes sense as of now.
Bit Romania looking from down below. They got information on 2 teams at the same time. Might be a little bit overwhelming. Zombie literally 1 or 2 HP, and he's making it downhill right there. One shot will be enough to get the knock, but bam! Oh, they're actually going to get backstabbed from a distance. That's going to be by Kapahala of Bloodline. Nicely done. And now they're going to get a little bit more involved. X Team also putting a hurt down on this team. But Bloodline now, because of their high ground being into the blue, they got to push on forward, and they were not really fully prepared for this, so they're going to struggle to find a decent spot, and they're going to get lasered on down. Athis trying to dodge the bullets left and right, like just Matrix style. I think Bloodline might just go down because of that delayed rotation.
Dancing like the wild, wild west. MVP holding on to the edge of the circle down in the southwest. You can see the distance. The D teams are taking each other out. We have lost X Team. Bloodline have held on. They're up to 5 kills. And this is what Bloodline does, right? when they know that they're not going to be in a prominent position in a circle, they get aggressive on the edge and they are punishing teams for it. That's great, especially off the back of having that chicken dinner in game one.
Yeah, I think they can definitely be proud of themselves. Like, normally they get the chicken dinners very late. They have a little bit of an exponential growth into the games. And today they kicked off, like, was the best game you could possibly ask for. A chicken dinner. The best of the best overall. Let's see what they can do. But Picado's still in play in this one. And a lot of teams currently went and found their way inside there, especially KGLA. But we've got to keep in mind that Raxman and Sensei's God are nowhere near each other. So if they have to take a fight, they're going to have to take as a one-man army, unfortunately.
This is, like, I don't know what to necessarily make of teams committing to Picado in phase 4/phase 5. I think that was a bit of a risk. Now, as the circle has shifted away from Picado majority, still with 2 members of Scrim Farm in it, Time to Shine, but only just about Clay GLA on the edge, that's a huge benefit for Red Reserve. They can easily stick that to the west side of this, the southwest side of the map, southwest side of the circle, and claim that chicken dinner. But by sending Frost forward, is that them going to be spreading out too thinly? We'll have to wait and find out.
Just to mention something, Bloodline did get taken out in 11th position by the Blue Zone, so they are out of the equation entirely. Now Scrim Farm, they're thinking of how they can move away from this location. A little bit split, you know what, that's fine. Back into the muscle car. They go. MVP Gaming under quite a bit of hurt. Carson will go down. That's going to be the end potential of MVP Gaming. Indeed, eliminated in 10th position. Not getting many points from this game, unfortunately for them. 9 teams shall still remain. There's only 27 players, which means that there are not many full teams remaining in the lobby, Imperium.
I kind of get why MVP headed towards Picado, because I didn't even expect to have so many teams in there. But maybe they could have sent a scout forward to try and get some information first, but either way, they've been taken out. Clay GLA have been able to somewhat get control. Nova's going to get taken out by Scrim Farm and Inside Games. That could hurt Red Reserve's chances of claiming a chicken dinner with Frost also in the kill feed. But Polar Ace staying as a full squad inside Picado. They've been able to make their way in, but Ked is going to get dropped to his knees.
Since it's got that was a clean grenade, you know what? They're playing in Casino right now, Polar Ace. They rolled a 1, especially Ked, and you know what? That's going to be making him get knocked instantly. As they're sending Aegon elusive out into the wild. And see if he can find a decent spot and a decent nest for the rest of his team to nestle in. You know what? Finds a decent error. Not really, unfortunately, into the circle. So it's no temporary position to hold on to. But really, Polar Ace still got a really long way to go to be safe and sound.
It's very risky, but it kind of makes sense because it's splitting themselves up and also allows Elusive to possibly find some angles on the Time to Shine where it'll give more space for the rest of his team to make their way into the circle. I get what he's doing, and hopefully, now that he's gotten over there successfully, he'll be able to make it work for himself.
Should be fine. Here it is. The circle's going to be almost closed up for phase 5. A little bit of information now. A little bit of glitch on the climb, but that's okay. We'll see exactly what's going to be happening. As now Godsend from up above, they're just going to be raining down absolute hell and mayhem on these squads potentially. They see Elusive in the background, but they're going to be all in the blue. So Polar Ace, really, they're going to be completely healed up against the blue zone, and they're going to have to push out Casino very soon. And Casino's an area that's very predictable. Only a few areas can actually jump out from. I think that teams like Time to Shine could try and capitalize on this opportunity to pick up as many kills as they possibly can. There it is now, Polar Ace in the blue. It's very late. So actually, Hardchief back into Picado. This is very surprising. Not great for both Godsend, Red Reserve, and I would even say Inside Games.
Oh no, I would still disagree. I still think it's very viable for Godsend because they do still have a full squad. Even though they're going down the hill. Let's not forget every single other team in Picado is distracted by each other.
Yeah, they're going to get a little bit tricked up in this one. We'll see where the circle's going to be shifting once again. It is pretty much in the open. You've got a lot of roads still in play, but here it is. This might be just a half circle finish over here in the compound of Picado. Red Reserve really trying to buy some time. They don't want to peek because they know there are a lot of teams in this compound. They just don't want to take that risk. So they're going to go for a very slow and chill approach to this one. As Elusive unfortunately got knocked away. He was there just potentially their anchor point to rotate out of Picado, but the circle did go back to Picado. So maybe Polar Ace are rethinking what they want to do in this game and overstay their welcome over here. Oh, Smoke Road will be coming out. And I hear the footsteps. Polar Ace, they're going to have to run their way through like Usain Bolts to try and make it over to the position of Time to Shine. They're going to struggle a fair amount. Here it is. Grenade right close to Savage X. Will not be connecting a knock.
I'm also seeing on the feed Red Reserve looking for Inside Games. If they can take out Inside Games, that would really help them. But since they got looking for Polar Ace, but Savage X survives for now.
They survive it indeed, and now Polar Ace, they're going to be crossing on over. They make it pretty much, I was going to say unscathed. They took a fair amount of damage, but you know what? They still survive as a pretty decent team. Oh my god, there was a sneaky angle from Swave peeking out of the window, but the damage will not be found. And now Godsend, you can see up north, they're going for a slow rotation down the hill as Time to Shine still raining down bullets on their location, so they are struggling a fair decent amount. But inside games, they were the first team to respond to that circle shifting away from them. They got a decent spot down southeast. They're holding on to it, but for how long? It might be tricky.
They only have one player up, so it kind of comes down to that last hope, that last chance saloon. And with multiple teams around him, it's not the fact that he could make a mistake, but he could easily get caught up in the crossfire.
Here it is, Godsend still trying their best. They're not in the circle. They're not of the woods, or should I say of the dunes for the time being. As wait, still Raxman remaining? I didn't see you, sneaky devil. Raxman is still over there, and he's just going to hold on to that small little building, that small little shack. It's Time to Shine more and more as time goes by. They're getting cornered up by a lot of teams with Godsend under fire, struggling to hold on to these little dunes. They're going to be using Na'Vi right away. They're going to potentially lose a bunch of extra players. But Red Reserve, that's a roll on in. They're going to get the elimination onto inside games. They get taken out overall. And that's going to be 6 teams still remaining in this lobby. This Miramar finish is absolutely mental. I'm loving every single second of it.
If Phase 7 shifts up north, even though Godsend are under pressure, it will really benefit them because they can just stay prone down and allow every other team to take each other out. But if the circle shifts down south or even centers up, it's going to be very hard for Godsend.
I was going to say, Swave, don't do that peek. It might have worked earlier. It's not going to work 2 times in a row. You know what? They're smart devils. They know exactly what you're up to. Now, Swave, little bit. But that was a full random grenade. Or Molly, should I say. They're going to go for the random spray onto Savage X. Well, random spray. Those bullets shall indeed not be random and will connect onto Savage X. The knock will be found. Ked, able to survive barely in that little corner of the building. Ked, you're really pushing your luck over here, man. You might want to push out eventually. But Swave, as he's still holding the angle, Ked is going to try and delay it as much as he possibly can. As Victor, with the Thompson, it's going to pop off into the kill feed once again.
Yeah, because this is hard for Red Reserve. Look at how they have to get into the circle. They have to go across the road into the open. There's a little bit of a low ground dip, but who's in front of them? Godsend. And this is where the circle should benefit them, even though they have that last player up, which is Reese. We know how much of a god Reese can be. He's the Irish god, but can he be the Miramar god?
I mean, Godsend here, you have the circle going away. I mean, just one player is going to be up. This is definitely going to be really hard, especially when you have a full squad of Time to Shine and potentially Scream Farm pushing onto your doorstep. Now, he's going to go down. Will still be remaining up for Time to Shine. He's still got Swave and Daddy up around. So, you know what? Time to Shine still got some really good manpower. They see Ked as he sneakily tries to make some through, but his footsteps, they make some noise. They make some sound. And he's going to get instantly shut away in overall 5th position. Now, Time to Shine, they're going to be rolling their way out. And so will Scrim Farm. Out of Picardo they go. Godsend and Red Reserve will going to try and deny that rotation. But they ain't got 3 players. Time to Shine and Scrim Farm. They're looking damn strong in this game of Miramar.
Yeah, but they're not kind of looking at each other. They're looking at opposite ends. But Scrim Farm looking to take out the last player of Godsend. Red Reserve still trying to hold on. This is down to the last 4 teams. It can be anybody's game. And Reese has yet to be spotted out by Jaja. This is so close. He's waiting, biding his time.
I become the car. I am the car. You do not see me. And as Imperial would like to say, he is John Cena. But Pecco's going to go down. Daddy's going to be able to find the nice headshot to him. And you know what? Oh my god, wait. Godsend, no way. Reed trying to go for the 3rd party. Onto Scrim Farm. Finds one. Finds potentially even a 2nd over there. And now he's going to go for the flash because he knows he might die just the next second. That's 2 extra kills going over to Godsend. Picking up 10 kills. Reeves, what are you doing, you Irish god?
Oh, double digits for the Godsend boys. Looking to pick off what was the back of a solid game 1. And in this game 2 of Miramar, we've seen Scrim Farm down to just Lunu. What can she do? Trying to confirm the kill. Take down Time to Shine. Will is now left standing. Heals up as the blue zone closes in. This is going to favor Red Reserve.
Oh, Linu, she's sweating. She only got also 5 bandages, so there's no way she's going to make it back to full health. And you know what? Just a few bullets in her body, and that will be the end of Linu, but she's going to try and survive for as long as she possibly can. Red Reserve now, they're just like, well, did they all kill each other? What is happening over here? You know what? We got a 2-man team, 2v1v1. Red Reserve might just make this one happen. They got 2nd position last game. They might just do a 2nd, followed up with a chicken dinner in a row. This is a huge kickoff of the finals for Red Reserve.
Well, we've seen them being consistent in semi-finals. Can they be consistent in the finals? They're certainly trying to make it work. Top 3 is either way a strong result nonetheless. But we've seen what Reeves can do against Scrim Farm. Can he do the same against Red Reserve?
Is this going to be a Mexican standoff? What we want to wait and see is take the fight between 2 teams and the team that's currently not fighting, go for 3rd party on that engagement and then capitalize on the damage or the knocks that happen on the opposition. Here, Red Reserve, they're going to try and really make use of that two-man team. Do they know it's a 2v1v1? Do they know it's potentially not a 2v2? That's really the information the Red Reserve they're looking to get for themselves. As Class playing with the Thompson, it's got 50 bullets, so you can spray for as long as you possibly want. But I think that here, M4 AK might be a little bit more valuable, as Luna's going to be pushing on forward over to the crate. She's safe and sound, but now she sees Class. Gonna go for the spray. Class down to about 1/3 HP. Gonna have to heal up, but Reese still unspotted. That buggy is literally saving Godsend's entire game.
Because surely Lanu knows Reese is there.
I don't know. Maybe like they might have thinking that Reeves moved away. Like she literally can't see him. So she's like, I don't see him. I'm not going to expect it. I'm not going to be thinking too heavily about it. I want to be 100% sure of the team I will play being there as Reeves. He's going to be into the blue. He's going to be into the blue. He's going to have to move away from that buggy. And Molly's going to come out. Oh my God, it's barbecue time, baby. Godsend go out in 3rd position. Maybe 2nd for Scram Farm. Going to be switching over to the Uzi. Going to go for the round to Class. He finds Class. Linu might be able to find himself a 1v2. But the spray coming out at the very end from Red Reserve. And Red Reserve will be taking a 2nd position, followed up with a chicken dinner. What an insane start in the finals that is.
Can I say what a great job that was by Linu?
That was pog.
Wow, that was absolute poggers. She knocked down Kaylas, took down Reeves, and nearly got the better of Victor. It's such a great ending to that game. Maybe she should have thrown out the Molotov a little bit earlier, because it felt like that was definitely in the direction of the buggy where she knew Reeves was. But I get because it was more the devil she knew rather than the devil she didn't know, and she knew where Red Reserve are, so she was staying focused. But either way, what an end to that game. What a great game by Scrim Farm, picking up 8 kills. Godsend picking up double digits. Red Reserve with another strong result. This is the PMCO Finals, baby.
I really like this game on Miramar is putting in the spotlight teams that like to scout. Red Reserve and Scrim Farm, they're very similar in how they play. And you know what? They're both being rewarded for that good scouting. They're taking a 1st and 2nd position respectively. 4 kills going the way of Red Reserve. And overall, that's going to be 8 kills also for Scrim Farm. So they can be really happy. But I got to say, Imperium, we can talk about it. Which is the player? Who's the MVP? I'm going to say the MVP of that game was the buggy of Reese. The buggy is MVP. 100%.
No. I don't think there is one specific kind of MVP, if that makes sense. Clearly, Scrim Farm took advantage of the fact that Picado's your draw spot. In theory, they didn't have to move out. They didn't move out. They got 8 kills for it. Could they maybe got more kills? Yeah, but the circle shifting in their favor is not something you expect all the time when you land in Picado. At the end of the day, they still made a great effort of it in the end. Godsend getting 11 kills. Man, it was just so clean. And then time to shine. Hey, I questioned, are they going to be able to pull out a result on one of the maps that they struggle in? They've certainly done it in this game too. Miramar, 15 points with 7 kills. Nice.
Keep it up. Time to shine. Really good kickoff for the finals for them also. But I would just want to bring back to Godsend real quick. Godsend, throughout the scrims, throughout also the entire history of full split for the European region in this PMCO, there were a team that they responded to circles like on time, but now they reacted so early every single time. And I called it right. The fact that they reacted so early on the circle, there was high ground. They were going to seal the teams down over on the western side, Picado, and in Picado himself. That is the reason why they got so many kills, is because they are just so damn reactive to the circle. Sure, a little bit slow on the later stages, but that's because they were gone on a slope downhill. They were going to struggle eventually. But overall, because you go aggressively on your rotation, it rewards you with good positions to take fights, pick up kills. I mean, Godsend, they deserve all those kills because, once again, their position was just so on point.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of, you know, the typical example of why at the end of the day, that's going to really benefit them in the overall standings, because they're going to have more kills. The placement points are always going to be very similar between a number of teams, and the kill points will be all the difference maker.
You know what, talking about points, I have to say we go take a little quick tour on the overall rankings. Here we have it. And of course, you know, with a 2nd position, followed up was after that a chicken dinner back-to-back. Red Reserve, of course, they're going to be in #1 position. 46 total points going their way. It was 12 kills and 34 positioning points. I mean, Red Reserve, I said it, and I'm going to say it again. What a good way to kick off the finals.
Fantastic consistency. Couldn't ask for a better start, but then can they keep it up? One thing that I'm noticing straight off the bat, Godsend, 19 kills compared to 16 placement points. It's not just that, but they have 7 more kills then the second place team, which is mixed between Red Reserve, Polar Ace, and UDR Killers. Godsend are coming into the finals to fight, to kill, to grab hold of their spot for the EMEA League.
A little bit of a drop-off, though, from Romania. You know what? It's okay. It's two games. They were overall landing in #1 position in the semi-finals. It's a little bit of a drop-off, maybe a little bit disappointing, but your mentality must still stay strong. You know what? They're a team that can just come back from really hard situations, so let's see if they can do so also. GSG Europe, a team that they were like the surprise of the group stage, and also here kind of falling off. So it seemed like as the level of competition increases, the pressure increases also on these teams, and some teams will sometimes, you know, prevail and dominate in those pressured situations, and some teams might just crumble to pieces. Seemed like, at least on these two first games, PSG and Romania haven't really found their groove yet.
Yeah, another team that hasn't found their groove yet is X Team, and even in the semi-finals, they didn't really find their groove on their day one of semis, but then on day two, I think they scored over 80 points or something like that, and they ended up in second place. I think their last 3 games for X Team were like 20, 22, and I think 23 points consecutively. Was just a string of fantastic results. Of course, they don't necessarily want to leave it to the last 3 games, but at least for me, I kind of have confidence of, hey, they're 8th place at the moment. They could be just taking a little bit of time to warm up. Yeah. Let's see what they can do in the next 2 games.
Let's see what they can do. 2 more games, indeed, as you just mentioned, will be remaining for day 1. We're going to have also some Sanhok. We're going to have some Vikendi coming up very, very soon. But before we do so, before we do go for the break, I do have to mention that maybe you want to be involved in this tournament. Maybe you want to try and join up into PMCO for the season of 2021. You know what? There is an opportunity to do so right now. If you want to head on over to the Discord, which is boom popping up onto your screen. That's discord.gg/PMNCEU. And you've got all the information over there. It's the European National Cup. You can represent your country and everything. It's a really cool way to find yourself into the tournament, into the PMCO. And also, like, this is not only the only season, right? We're going to have potentially many more to come. So it's always good to join the Discord, not only for this tournament, but for the long run, to just follow what the hell is happening in the European scene.
Just so many opportunities available between the end of this year and the start of next year for teams to make a name for themselves.
There you go. With that said, that's going to be it. I love we have a comment in the Twitch chat that says it's coming out from It's All Good YNC saying, that's why I love Miramar. No grass to snake. Only the good and old skill. Well, you know what? Ice out there, buggies are now going to be replacing grass apparently in these games. So you've got to keep that in mind. You know what? Always can create a hiding spot if there are not any at the first place. With that said, we're going to go for a very short break. And game number 3 on Sanhok will be up very soon. So stick around for that. It's going to be absolutely mental.
Roy's countering. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot from behind. Unsuccessful on that. J7 coming in for the support.
Roy's countering. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot from behind. Unsuccessful on that. J7 coming in for the support.
Thank you very much for waiting, boys and girls and fellow gamers all around the globe. We're ready to jump to our third game. It's going to be on Sanhok, and we are still with the dazzling Imperium, ready for this third game. Yes, dazzling.
Said to me just before start, I need to find another compliment for you, you know?
I don't want to make it redundant, you know? I want to make it, very, almost snappy. Feels good.
The ever-talented Maxon, indeed, it's a pleasure to be here for Game 3. Now, we've seen two great games. I feel like Game 2 was much better when it came to circle shifts. Of course, still ending up around Picado, which is definitely not that usual, but it was overall a lot cleaner, didn't involve a lot of water. What will Game 3, what will Sanhok provide us?
I would love to see an Eastern Circle. Those happen from time to time, but pretty rare. They do happen every full moon, so you know what? Hopefully it will be happening today. But I also want to see, we saw in Erangel, right? Bloodline, UDR killers, Bloodline being very respectful of Pachinki. They moved away. They do tend to get close to each other very, very quickly on Pachinki over to the east, mostly like center/southern eastern side of the map. So overall, I want to try and see how they're going to try and react to that. But with that said, you know what? We're just going to see. You know what? No questions answered. Well, no questions needed. Just answers shall be needed over here, as we're going to be going with the plane into the air, with the northern plane path actually going from the side of Cambrova all over to the west of Hattin. To
take you on a little trip to the past, Max.
Yes, tell me.
You might remember the PMCO Spring Split Finals. The fourth place team, because we're talking about the top 4 in the finals that'll make it through, got 91 points. That's an average of 11.37 per game. So if we're taking that as a benchmark, Red Reserve only need another 50 points for them to secure a top 4 spot, if you think about it. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case, because I do believe the standard of gameplay in the full split is a lot higher. But just food for thought coming into these finals.
Okay, so they're not that far off. They can make it really quickly up there. So we'll keep that in mind also. But what I'm going to keep in mind right now is the fact that that northwestern island of MVP and just Europe is not going to be in play whatsoever. The southern western island sure could be still in play if we do have a few hard shifts, but overall, you at least can take out of the equation right off the bat one island, and that is always great to see, because now just got 2 islands. It makes your rotations just a lot easier to set up.
Yeah, one of the biggest pains of the ass when it comes to circles in Sanhok is not the fact that it might be on the western side of the map, but that involves normally in phase 1, phase 2, all areas of Sanhok. Gaijin, one player getting into spotted trouble, but Cedric is going to be able to clap back and take down Sensei.
They played very passive into Miramar, going up for the northern compounds very passively next to Campo Militar. But now they're kind of forced into it. They have to go for the action pretty early. And I think that's something that they don't really want to go for. But unfortunately, yes, Sanhok is the name of the game over there. You have to go aggressive from the very get-go from time to time. They're going to just exchange a few little shots with inside games as a relax. Seems like he's relaxing too much, apparently to the point where he might just seem like he's AFK. So Lord AB is just not going to move away too heavily from this location.
One thing I notice is a difference in drop locations for Red Reserve. Normally, they'll go straight for Samni. Now, I know it was quite a northern plane path, so that, of course, would hurt their ability to cleanly get to Samni. But one thing that I noticed is that they've positively headed towards a cave area. Now, there's not a hell of a lot of loot there, but there is some core compounds in play where you're able to move to. And the fact that Phase on Circle is kind of so heavily on the southeast, it does give them a great place to start and to kick off their Sanhok game. Considering how well they've performed in the first 2 games, I'm kind of starting to put Red Reserve on a slightly higher of a pedestal coming into this third game.
You know what? When you do increase your overall standings, your overall average, like we're expecting more and more as time goes by, because, you know, they did some good games and we want to see that consistently come on through. So we'll keep that in mind. Time to shine. They went on to the Painan area. I think Painan is going to be a really big point of focus this game. Reason why is the point of interest between the 2 islands, the southern western island and the mainland over to the east. So a lot of teams might be going on by, especially have a hard shift down southwest. So you've got to keep that in mind. Time to shine. They really want to hold on to it because they got decent results on the 2 first games, but they need just a little bit more to try and make it up there.
Well, hey, look, you know, I talked about how Miramar and Sanhok is their 2 weakest maps. In the semifinals, they only got 3 points each on the 2 games in Miramar and Sanhok, respectively. But they booked the trend in the second game, getting 15 points. So will they book the trend today? Hey, this is a clean slate, a clean opportunity. I think that they have easily what it takes to turn around in their favor.
I think they do. Like, it's just, once again, they hit some really consistent points compared to what we saw in the scrims as of recently. So time to shine, just keep the ball rolling. Just keep the ball rolling. As GSG, they actually moved away really quickly from the northern western island, and I called it. There's no reason to hold on to that area whatsoever. Just give it up pretty early. That's what they did. So overall, I'm pretty happy with them. But you got to be careful because in this compound, you got a few teams over there. I mean, Godsend, they moved straight away from boot camp, which I also appreciate. I think it's okay. You don't need to hold on to it too heavily because it's on the edge of the circle.
Yeah, especially with the circle being mainly on the mainland, you don't want to rely on catching teams out in the mainland because it just really isn't going to work. Plus, with that hill, you know, just so aggressively down on the south side of boot camp, you want to wrap either over a hill or around a hill to really prepare much better for the phase 2 circle.
Out of Scrim Farm, they're going to go for their respective rotation. Not too much of an issue. Like, Scrim Farm, also weird. This team we're expecting a lot from, right? They're currently in 6th position. And you said it earlier. You just said you tooted their own horn. And I think they was rightly deserved. They're a great team. Yeah. They're an extremely talented team. They're doing great. Almost leaning, clutching it out in a 1v2 versus Red Reserve to take that last chicken dinner over there on Miramar. So Scrim Farm, we're expecting a lot from these guys. And let's see if they can do so on the map. They're playing aggressive. Talking about being aggressive, they're right in the sights of time to shine, but they're not taking the shots. Just don't want to take too much attention to them. But Scrim Farm, they're taking a risk, just rotating in the open like that. Yeah, that is hella risky. I knew that was going to happen eventually. There you go. Spray will be coming out from time to shine. Gouger almost going down. He's into the shack. Will be able to heal up, but time to shine. They just waited. They had a lot of discipline, and that might reward them with a team squad wipeout if they play their cards right. Oh my god. Okay, Pecco able to find Will.
Wow. See, okay, nothing against time to shine, but this is the power of Scrim Farm, right? This is the power of Pecco. He's shone out time and time again between scrims and PMCO. The player individually is an absolute beast. Pecco is just up there, improved massively from the spring split as well. I will note, I'm just constantly impressed. He feels dangerous. He just feels dangerous as a player.
He does indeed, and he's been showing it into the scrims, and now going into the finals, he's shown it and proven it once again for all of us at home. Now already Scrim Farm, time to shine. Now that they're both alerted of their location of the opposing side, it's mainly going to be turning into a battle of knocks. And even if they do get knocks, you've got to go into the field, you've got to go through the water, you've got to make it over to the other compound. Like, that's going to require a lot of efforts and utility and just overall resources to do that rotation. So I think really, even if they get knocks, and this is like a triple knock, this fight won't really result in too much happening in the early stage.
It might actually hurt both teams if the circle goes away from them, right? Because they're wasting time coming into phase 2, phase 3, and especially as Sanhok, the circle does tend to shift a bit quicker, right? And where that late game position can be a bit more prevalent, even though snaking on the edge is a viable strategy. You got to think a little bit more of the later stages, phase 2, phase 3. And I think this is where Scrim Farm have made the right call by disengaging away from that fight against time to shine and looking more in towards phase 2.
They definitely realized that this could hurt them on the long run. And time to shine, they're not going to stop that from happening. Like, you know what? Yes, give us some more breathing room. We're happy to have this area fully in our location. Oh, maybe not. You know what?
Exactly.
Actually, they spotted Linu. Like, okay, you know what? Might not make it far away. If you can take a sneaky kill on you, we'll do so. But Linu is way too far out of reach. And Scrim Farm will make it pretty much unscathed from that one. Actually, I will say completely unscathed, and they're going to be just fine. As the circle of phase 1, 50% closed up, we're about to head on over into phase 2. And know that phase 2, phase 3 is where some fights do tend to happen from time to time.
Polar Ace. They've had a solid-ish start to the finals. But we know that they're the kind of team that can clutch out not only a fight, but a whole game. Savage X, we saw him be an absolute monster at times. An absolute monster in games in the semifinals. I do want to see that unleashed in a slightly more consistent way in these final games. But that's also me knowing what they can achieve as a team, as players. So maybe I'm thinking a bit too harshly. I'm excited to see what they can do in the Sanhok game.
I'm really excited, but I want to bring our attention over to here. This gun, very dangerous in the valley, down below. Polar Race, if they just see a pixel out of place, they're gonna just send the absolute hell upon Gun. Gamers Unite Nation. Maybe you got to try and unite versus this fight. And here it is. I said it, Polar Race. They have the wind of information. They're going to rain it down onto Gun, able to find Wolves almost instantly. Wolves going to be behind the rocks. You know what? That flush is going to be pretty tricky to find. This is now potentially going to allow them to just wrap around. Mamula is still going to be a really big issue for Polar Race to try and find that angle and hit from the down below section. Because now grenades will also be traded off. Wolves able to actually... Whoa, no way. He's able to make it over to both Herbs and Outro. That is really surprising, but the res will normally come out. That looks like a really good grenade from Maskoff. And it will connect indeed, finding the flush plus a knock onto Herbs. And now Outro will be left stranded behind that rock solo. Can still go for the res on his ally, but unfortunately, this is really tricky. It's turned into a 4v2. And Polar Race, they're going guns blazing on the side of Gun, but Gun Mamula able to find himself a knockdown, switching over with 40 bullets over in the M4. Gonna go for the spray. Can he find it? No, he can't. Barely, though. That was a close call for Aegon of Polar Race. And there you have it. Gun now down to only one player. And as I say, that's gonna be Gun eliminated in last 16th position. Great fight from Polar Race.
It was really fantastic pre-fire from Mamula, but you called it right from the start. The position they were in was an incredible disadvantage to their chances of winning the team fight. They got caught out. Their rotation was clearly a little bit weak, and they paid the price off the back of it. That's where Sanhok can be so just detrimental, punishing it. Sometimes it just feels like you don't get a second chance in Sanhok, and we've seen it happen with Gun.
The position of Mamula, though, did buy him a lot of precious time. They could have maybe built themselves back up from that, but unfortunately, it was just not quite enough. And Polar Race, they went just full ham on that one to capitalize on a few initial knockdowns they had at the very start. But now the circle, we did see it shift around for phase number 2, phase number 2, and it did actually go over to the more eastern side. I asked for an eastern circle, and you know what? It's delivering so far, but I'm seeing Red Reserve kind of pinpointing between two teams. You saw Scrim Farm down south, up north is going to be time to shine. So Red Reserve got to be very wary of how they approach this fight because it could make them in a really bad spot if they're not careful.
One of the really key aspects of getting the most out of Sanhok is, like Vikendi with roof play, is getting on top of those rocks. If you be the ornament on top of the rock and just peeking up, that extra couple of meters elevation high ground can be the reason why you pick up a team fight. So Red Reserve trying to play around that with Frost initially is great for them. But the good thing for Red Reserve, that time to shine are kind of backing off there, looking to reposition ahead towards the real deal in Quarry. And that's good because Quarry is closer to the center circle. But are they walking into a trap?
It might be indeed very close to the real deal. And the real deal, they're definitely aware. They hear the footsteps and they don't want to let anyone into their compound. They've got so many off angles and they haven't moved an inch. And I think the time to shine, they're so close. They might be like, okay, I don't think maybe anyone's in this compound. They're still going to be a little bit wary. Here it is. One spray. Daddy's going to go down almost instantly. And here it is. The trap has now been set. And it just craps around and goes all around the neck of the players of Time to Shine. Time to Shine losing one player. One got flushed. So, there you go. That's going to be actually 2 kills on the side of Time to Shine. Down to Swade and Will. Nice spray though coming out on this side. Onto Hack Shot, the real deal. Now, got to be a little bit careful because another player got knocked away, but great grenade coming out from Azzy of the real deal. That puts now Time to Shine down to only one player. And Red Reserve still on top of the mountain. I'm going to call it. This is going to be the end of Time to Shine. They're out in 15th normally.
Oh, they've already been third partying. They stole a couple of kills away from the real deal. Now, the real deal are aware of that. That's why they're not pushing this Time to Shine fight more aggressively. But they know they have a key area inside the circle. Swave is holding on. He's the last player standing. The last hope. Okay, last finds him.
The hope is now extinguished, and Red Reserve, as I said, it going down the hill. They're like, oh, wait, a sneaky player right there. We're just going to get rid of him instantly. But now, at least, Red Reserve, they got a lot of extra information from this fight. They saw a team trying to get into the compound. They died, so they're like, we didn't shoot all the players down, so that means one team must be in that compound, so we're going to avoid it at all costs. Red Reserve, that information might be the reason why they got a good rotation on phase 3. Talking about phase 3, Northwest, that's a pretty hard shift back towards the area of boot camp. All the teams on the East, they're going to struggle in this one.
Though. Even though you don't really want to be in Quarry, the good thing is that there's quite a good few compounds around the circle. Look at the amount of that there are. You've got the compound to the northwest of Quarry. You've got the compounds around Quarry. There's a lot of pockets of buildings that you can use to your advantage.
Oh, Jody, calm down over there. What is going on? You know what? They're just going to hold on to the area. They got himself to the compound. Bloodline know that this is a fight. It's not worth taking. If they can get onto the res, onto Athis, that's great. Count your winnings and leave the scene because UDR killers are also up north of your location. This is a fight the Bloodline should not even just fathom of taking. There's no way and no reason to go for it.
Get your information, Jody. Then reposition, although reposition on Tuk Tuk, that's just loud and slow. I know it's not much, but I kind of feel like it's kind of a silly risk, but either way it's going to work out for him. He's now going to make his way up the hill. He's protected by UDR killers on the low side of the hill, but the second he moves up that hill, Sandra and Ulysses are ready to strike.
I mean, they haven't moved an inch since earlier, so already no noise.
Yeah.
Has been given over, and Scrim Farm, they're taking a card that does a lot of noise, and they're both onto a bike. Oh my god, no Scrim Farm. 1 and 2. There you go. There's the second. Scrim Farm losing 2 instantly. I mean, you're asking for it. You're taking a car rotation, a bike rotation. It does so much noise. Like, car rotations are a must not.
It's just not really worth the risk in Sanhok, right? Maybe phase 1, maybe phase 2, but I think when you're getting into phase 3/phase 4, that's where, unless you are absolutely certain, and I mean absolutely certain that you know team around you, cool. Otherwise, I would say just use the train and use the natural flow of Sanhok to your advantage if you can.
I think that's what they're trying to do. Polar Ace, they're still being a little bit on the move. They did take a fight earlier versus Bedex Romania, so I'm not sure exactly how far they're standing in terms of play. I think they got 1 flushed away instantly after that double knock, so I think they still has a 3-man team. We'll have to see and try and see that come out into the feed very soon. And they did indeed lose Savage X, very unfortunately, and they might even lose a few more along the way as Bedex Romania, they don't want to finish their job. There it is. 1 job well done is a job that's finished. Ked will potentially go down very soon. He's bleeding out very quickly, and the utility will instantly be responded by the side of Polar Ace to go for the res onto Ked. Actually, whoa, no. Dexter was able to find that shot from a distance. No way. That's insane. But Inside Games, they're also going to try and wrap around. They're able to find WWS. And now Inside Games wrapping around. Bet not fully ready to take this engagement.
Hey, look, this is phase 3. When you're out in the open like that, I get why WWS is there, but you, of course, are susceptible to a third party. It's okay, though, because Bet still have those 3 players inside the compound. They know what's around them. The fear is that they are on the northeastern side of the circle, and the Inside Games are more heavily inside the circle. And with this shift, oh, God, I feel sorry for the likes of Bet, Polar Ace, Gaijin, even Godsend a little bit. And the Real Deal, but all these teams outside the circle, it's a tough ask for them to make it in successfully.
I feel really sorry for one team. That is time to shine. Like, they died already. This is normally their drop spot. The way that Circle is exactly their drop spot, and they must be so sad they do not go there for this game on Sanhok. You know what? Big rip for you guys of Time to Shine. We'll remember you dearly and nicely overall. As just able to find himself Tannic of Clay GLA. A few teams will go for their rotation, but Maskoff in that sniper tower, he's just going to be the Mirador of this game, allowing nowhere near these teams close to their location.
It's great for Godsend because they're on top of the hill, Max, so they're able to get a lot of information. But they still have to be proactive. They can't be passive. Now, I know I'm saying that as if, like, who do you think you're talking about? I'm aware that it's Godsend and that they are an aggressive team. But just on that location, they have to be even more proactive and ready to absolutely pop off, which I'm sure they are.
Not gonna lie, Bloodline a little bit lucky this compound was not occupied. Earlier, I believe it was the Real Deal that were here, and they moved away instantly. Yeah. If they were still here, they were moving out of Quarry. It's so predictable because you only got a few anchor points you can move out of Quarry out to. Really, Bloodline, they're lucky that the Real Deal not here. If they were, that would be one tricky fight to go for. But MVP now, they're actually pushing towards this compound in between both the Real Deal and Bloodline. MVP, without knowing this, set himself in a very, very dangerous position. They might regret really soon. So MVP, you better tighten up your teeth there because you might struggle quite a bit.
Grenade being thrown up by Athis. Just try and tickle the members of MVP, pushing back a little bit. Bloodline have to be careful that they don't get kind of stabbed in the back moving out of that compound. If I were them, I would be possibly a little bit more aggressive and look to take the fight onto MVP. I know they don't have all the information in the world, but now that they've thrown a grenade, MVP know that they are there. Kind of turning their backs on them is risky. We've seen Kapahala take a couple of shots for it.
Yeah, Danny trying to find himself that knockdown. But no, we've seen these teams fighting. We've got to see which team have the advantage right now from this. Is actually X team pretty central in the circle. We got a fight currently happening with MVP Gaming taking the fight versus, I believe that's Gauging on the bottom right side of our screen. engaging a team that they don't like playing really aggressive, but when they're forced into it, their team that do pretty good in that. They got really good synergy overall, but Bloodline, they're just going to try and rush their way through forward into a decent spot. They're going to struggle to do so. You know what? Engaging, they just not want to get too involved. Red Reserve, they could be the big issue why Bloodline could not make it over, but the real deal, their rotation back in the compound is huge, and they're going to hold on to the eastern side of the circle.
This was great for Bloodline because MVP got distracted by Gaijin. They were able to get more inside the circle. As the circle shifts into favor of X team, Bloodline still have to find their way in. They're looking for Gaijin. Another knockdown and another knockdown.
MVP, without realizing, then put himself in the point of no return. He put himself between 3 teams at the same time, still in the blue zone. MVP struggling so heavily. Neymar will go out. You still got Danny and Tika remaining for their team, but how long might that be? I'm not sure. But the circle going back over to X Team Imperial. I mean, this might just be a chicken dinner, and they've just really been killing this entire game. Kapahala shot in the back by Tika, and Tika will be able to make the most out of it because, as I said, they're in a very dangerous position. So make the most out of it while you still can. That should be 4 kills going away of Team MVP.
Hey, look, there's no point in having a strong position inside the circle if you don't take advantage of it. So X-Team are still going to have to be careful and be proactive once again, being in the center of the circle. The real deal on to MVP leaves Danny the last player standing. They're also looking in the direction of Bloodline. The blue zone is closing in on phase 5. That starts to do a lot more damage, which is hurting the teams on the edge of the circle.
One team just hurting a lot. That is Bloodline. Eurofen going down on me very quickly. That was his last first aid. So you know what? Prayers to you, my friend. Let's see what we can do with no more health packs and first aids anymore, as now it's going to be also a rush on through from the real deal. They had a really good compound, but the hard shift over to X Team is going to be really hard on their shoulders. They've got to keep that in mind. But now UDR Killers, Red Reserve on the mountaintop. They're going to go downhill. Only one team will survive this encounter. Who would it be? Red Reserve, UDR Killers. Place your bets in the chat. Now, Sandro down, prone behind that rock. Got a lot of information because of that third-person perspective. Sees Novas, gets up, goes for the spray, and Novas will go down instantly. The flush has yet to come out. Red Reserve might be able to come out on top from this fight. And now Sandro wants to try and win a little bit more land. Going to go for the re-engage. The spray will connect a little bit with the Uzi. Red Reserve, they are struggling to hold on to this location. But where the rest of UDR Killers? Sandro going solo right there. Really struggling and will get punished because of that. Now Pocus will join the party a little bit late for sure. There's now some more utility will be traded off. Grenade onto Victor. Victor, oh my god, able to barely survive the explosion. What the hell just happened there, Pocus with the Thompson? Maybe got to reload, my friend. You only got 4 bullets in that clip. And Red Reserve still maybe going for the flush onto Sandra. I think that's going to be Sandra going out. Actually, Nano's going to get eliminated, but here it is. The second grenade will be a bullseye. Pocus picking up the extra knock. But Red Reserve, during that entire time, will not be able to find himself the res onto Novas. 1v1 between Pocus and Frost. Who might it be to win it? But no, Frost actually getting third party from down below, and they will both get eliminated, Imperium. Big disappointment after that 1v1. What the hell? No, let them fight.
You know what, though? What is their loss is X Team's gain. That's exactly what I said X Team have to do. Punish the teams around them. Take them out. We have 5 teams left, 18 players, and X Team have 1-1-1-1 inside the buildings of the compound, ready to continue the control.
I mean, X Team, they're just so happy with this circle. Like, oh my god, thank you so much to the circle gods. But one team that's not going to say thank you, that's going to be GSG. Not saying thank you to Godsent as they're raining absolute hell on this team. With also Clay GLA working hand in hand really nicely. Kamara, Levy, both extremely low. And Delete pretty good and healthy. And he's going to get the first up. He's going to find himself the knockdown onto Rolkis now. Going to be all in the hands of Reese. Did great on Miramar, but Sanhok will not be the one. And Delito nail in the coffin for them. And as GSG actually using one of their players and now down to 2-man team.
That is good. GSG striking up. We saw in the PMCO group stage, the very first day, it was their first chicken dinner, and they continued it on with 2 more. So can they? Sorry, 1 more. It was 85 points they got in 3 games of the first day of group stages. Since then, they've had a bit more of a struggle, but that kind of makes sense. Every other team has started to evolve throughout this whole stage. But now at least they make their way into the top 3 of this game in the PMCO Finals. They're looking to kick things off.
Here it is, Clay GLA. They find GSG. They're going to eliminate Kamara. That's kill number 3 going their way. Now it's only down to Andelito. He did a great move earlier versus the side of Godsent. Now we'll see how this one's going to be coming out. But actually, Clay GLA going for a little bit of a 2-2 split. 2 teams going actually inside the compound. And X Team full retreat on this engagement back to the compound. Part of the compound currently in circle. I think that's a good retreat overall. It makes a lot of sense. That's fine because now Clay GLA, despite being in the buildings, they are currently in the blues and Imperium. And they're going to be so predictable on how they're going to move out unless they got a lot of utilities and smokes remaining to do that rotation. What about utility? Here it is. Smoke road from their compound over to the compound of X Team. They're going to be pushing on forward. It's still got a 4-man team. Clay GLA, you got to push right now. You've got already a few players on forward. X Team still remain as a 4-man team themselves. It's going to be a big fight. Tanik extremely low. They're going to be able to find themselves one knockdown. Oh my god, Clay GLA falling like absolute flies. One more player will still be remaining. They've got to go for the final push onto Sapphire Ali. Sapphire Ali will go down. X Team picking up so many frags along the way. That's an extra 4, up to 7 so far. And now Angelito, you know what? Coming back there and taking second position by just surviving. That is a huge play, but grenades coming out. Could it be a grenade finish from Angelito of GST Europe?
Advantage. Take advantage. Push on up. You've allowed one revive to come off. Now come down to 1v2. He doesn't pre-fire. Goes through the door. And the chicken dinner goes over to X Team.
X Team, and you know what? They didn't have a lot of kills in the mid-game stage, and at the end, they just came back strong. They took fight after fight and making it back. They got so many kills in that one. Really good stuff indeed from them. Chicken dinner, well-deserved, was 8 kills. I think they can be really happy of their performance, but Imperium, that game, Angelito, what the hell? Angelito was just doing so good overall for this game for his team.
Angelito sending Godsend down to Despacito. That was just such a great individual play from him. It's as I said, we haven't really seen GSG kind of be in that kind of clutch moment too much, except for the first day of group stage, and it was nice to see it again. Okay, it was only 3 kills, but just kind of that moment, it gave them 2 extra placement results, which is an extra 6 points, I think. Yeah, an extra 6 points. That could be the reason why they make it into 4th place or not. It's, you know, every point counts, and they made us in this game so that every point has counted for them.
Really good stuff. They're going to be seen also the lower side of the standings. Scrimfarm going to in 13th. They're going to have also Inside Games in 14th position. Time to shine. This is what games that I do not like to see. You said it. You mentioned it, Imperium, again. The fact that Sanhok is not really a map on which they perform extremely well. And this does show up here, picking up only 1 position points for this one. And getting Gun did go out really early in this game with 16th position with no kills to show for it. That's going to be it for our Sanhok game. A very interesting Sanhok game indeed, but the circle kept on shifting in the favor of X Team, and I keep on saying this, right? You know, having the circle go in your favor is one thing, but being able to actually use that circle efficiently is another. And I got to say, X Team, they used that circle extremely well, kept teams pretty far away from them except for Clay GLA, but they still rotated really well back into the circle. Overall, I think X Team heavily deserved that game.
Yeah, of course they did. Goes back to what I said, right? There's no point in having a strong position inside the circle if you don't take advantage of it. It made sense why they all went into the same building, and when it came to the circle kind of closing in, it meant that they had their full arsenal inside the circle ready to take out Clay GLA. It made it work. It does make me think, why didn't Clay GLA have a couple of grenades? But that's an answer that I don't have, right? But I do like the fact that Clay GLA at least pushed. They didn't hang about. They went in for that even 4v4 fight. It just didn't work out for them. What I do love to see from that game is the fact that kind of continued consistency from Red Reserve and Godsend. 7 kills for Red Reserve, 6 kills for Godsend, 13 points each. It's that, like, that's really going to help them in the overall standings to keep them on top of everybody else.
I mean, Red Reserve, they're known for just holding on to those little high ground positions. They were doing it right there. They took the fight versus CDR. We had a little bit of a third party from down below. I'm not sure if it was like Bloodline or MVP, but there was another team down there. It was X Team. Okay, they were getting a little bit involved. The little sneaky devils right there doing God's work. But overall, it was good. So, you know what? We got the overall rankings that have been updated. So I say, let's take a quick little snippet. And you know what? You talked about the consistency of Red Reserve. Over the course of 3 games, they got almost 60 points. That's an average of about 20 points per game. Red Reserve, 2.0. Looking damn good in the process.
But also Godsend, 3 games,
0.
25 kill points to 23 placement points, 0 chicken dinner, but they are only 11 points behind Red Reserve. Maybe this last game, or this 3rd game, should I say, in Vikendi might be, no, the last game, my apologies, sorry, I mixed up with the schedule. Last game in Vikendi could be their chicken dinner game. We saw them really pull out some stonking performances in Vikendi in the past, rotating very effectively. That could be the case. But X Team, after that chicken dinner, what did I say? 1 game is all they can take. They've shot themselves up to 3rd place overall.
Yeah, really well deserved from the side of X Team. And we talked about it, right? Like, those consistent points are good because they can allow you to secure a spot in the standings. But those chicken dinners, those big games that like X Team just secured right here, that's what allows you to propose yourself so high up. Currently, they were like in the middle of the standings, in the middle of the pack, and then just, what the hell just happened? 3rd position overall, X Team looking good. And you know what? 3rd position is great because let's not forget that these teams, they're fighting to get a spot in the EMEA League. And that's going to be the top 4 teams of this specific region for European PMCO. So top 4 is where you want to be at the end of day 2.
Can we also kind of address a little bit of the elephant in the room? BetX Romania down in 16th spot, 9 points in 3 games. Not what we really expected. We all know that, you know, every single team here is of a high quality, but at the end of the day, in the semifinals, BetX Romania ended up on top, got stonker performances. We all expect them to kind of continue it in the finals, but to be so low down, bottom of the barrel, they've got to pick themselves up in the last game.
I don't know if I got really bad vision and I need glasses, but I'm pretty sure I'm seeing double right now. BetX Romania, there's 2 teams, one in 13th and one in 16th. I'm not too sure exactly which one is which. So we'll try and get that fixed up. You know what? That's okay. That's fine. But there you go. That's going to be all we see of the overall standings. We'll try and get done with the production crew to try and get that fixed up and look on points. But there you have it, guys. You know, we have Miramar, we have Sanhok, we have Erangel all played off. And now we only got 1 remaining map of all of the 4 maps remaining in the game so far. That's going to be Vikendi just around the corner. So you know what? We're going to go for a break right now, as always. And we'll be back shortly for game number 4, the final game of the day, before we go for a little bit of a hiatus for the next few hours. And then we'll be back tomorrow also. But yeah, as always, quick break. And we'll be around the corner with game number 4 on Vikendi. See you guys right over there.
Ground. Roy's countering. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot.
Roy's countering. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot from behind. Unsuccessful on that. J7 coming in for the support.
Thank you so much for waiting once again. And we are here. We are ready to dive into game number 4, our final game of day 1 for these grand finals of European PMCO. We're about to be 50% done, and you know what? I'm already sad it's almost over. These games have been so good.
It's also off the back of we had like 3 days of 5-day semi-final days, right? And we only have 4 games today. And am I muted or am I?
No. It's like you said 3 days or 5 days. I was like, what? You mean 3 days of 5 games?
Sorry, 3 days of 5 games. That when you have 4 games in 1 day and it's only like 2 days in total, yeah, it feels incredibly quick. It's like I'm not ready to let go. I'm not ready to let go. I want to see more.
I don't want to go. Look stuck.
I'm a little bit surprised that you say let it go.
No. Not yet. Not yet. We'll keep it.
I set up for that, Max.
We'll keep it for later. That's fine. Okay, we got 30 seconds coming to this one. You know what? I would love to see people in chat. Imperium is very disappointed with the Mirror now. People in chat, tell us, which team do you think is going to be winning this game on Vikendi? Imperium, like, we're talking off stream, like, about team you think will be winning. So, we'll see if that's going to be happening.
Well, yeah, it was like we were kind of talking about which teams, let's say, have impressed us, which teams look strong. And of course, it's not hard to touch upon Red Reserve. They're currently in first, right? They've had a chicken dinner. But what is great and possibly very reassuring for them is that they're coming into this last game of the day in first, but into the map where they are one of the strongest on. Vikendi has known to be a strong map for them where they can get these dominating, not necessarily chicken dinners, but 15, 16 point games and 6-8 kills. And where they land, if the circle's in around that area or close to them, it's going to be even better for them.
And you have to agree, it is definitely their playground, as we're going to be having potentially some fights. In the past, what we had happening was UDR Killers versus Bloodline happening in Goroka itself. So we'll be seeing if that's going to be happening this time around also, or if Bloodline are going to go down the same path we saw on Erangel, where they're going to play passive, reactive, where the hell UDR goes, and just going to avoid it entirely. But Inside Games also going to go in a pretty similar vicinity. A lot of teams going for the northern side. Oh, okay. Okay, I mean, we should be used to it by now. We're surprised every time, but we should be used to it.
That's like, it's been a while since we've had like a 55% water circle in Vikendi, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's progress. That's Southwest. That's like, talk about a way to end the day. Now, of course, that's going to make it not only hard for every team because there's less land mass available, but it's going to make it even harder for the teams on the northern side, like X Team, Polar Ace, Inside Games, even UDR Killers to a certain extent. One thing I have noticed that Bloodline have not opted to go for Goroka. They're going for a split drop between Mount Crescent Coal Mine and just towards the west of Coal Mine.
And I think that's overall good. Cool. If you do not take a fight in the early stage, talking about early fight, there you have it. Backfire able to find himself the first knock onto Neurofen. Bloodline might lose one very valuable player very early on. Find himself behind that tree, and that might actually just save his life. Backfire, he's a little bit annoyed by that. You can see it by how he's moving. He wants to find that kill. He wants to confirm it, but is not going to be able to do so as of yet. As now Kapahala thinking of how he wants to approach this one, but he's very far. Instant response coming out from Inside Games. They're going to try and wrap around, suffocate Bloodline lineup. And Bloodline will lose one player, and Kapahala might be the next one to go down. But Dale, oh my god, he's going in with no weapons. Oh my god, an absolute mad lad there. Dale at least able to make it inside the building. Hopefully, he's going to be able to find himself a decent weapon to fight with. Actually, he's not even able to make it inside the building. He's got no weapons. Run around the rosies. Dale is a big sad man right now.
He can do is he can wait for his teammates to come in by this time and in on the teammate. Inside Games come a flying, come a cropping. They want to find Kapahala.
It's like when you have your big brother going to support the small brother when he's getting bullied. There you have it. Oh, Kapahala. Oh my god, Kapahala. You're pushing your luck right there. Gonna go for no way, Kapahala. What are you up to, man? Go for one. Gonna confirm the other kill. Spray through. Oh my god, Relax is gonna have to reload the Uzi up to 25 bullets once again. Getting sprayed from the other side. Kapahala, can he pull a 1v3 clutch? Who is literally 1 HP? As Stan's gonna go for a little bit of an off angle. He could shut the door down if he really wants to. Kapahala's going to wrap around the building. Can maybe find the spray onto Relax. He's going to get pushed onto the left side. And there you go. I think that might just be the end. One bullet, that's all he needs. Sensi will get it. But oh my God, Kapahala, you gave them a run for their money for damn sure.
Okay. There was absolutely no way that in practice or in theory, whatever you want to call it, there's no way that Kapahala should have gotten 2 kills or that Inside Games should have lost 2 players. But they got sloppy and they should have waited. They'd already taken down a member of Bloodline. I get what they were going for, let's say, trying to take out that second player, so they knew they ultimately had that coal mine area to themselves. But you could also have looted up a little bit, then gone for the second kill. Whereas when they went in kind of swinging, Kapahala played around that and got 2 kills for it. In my opinion, ended up better off for Bloodline.
Go, it's a zombie. Yeehaw, partner, you might be saying, as he's got the brand new cowboy set. Although I think that's a really cool set, by the way. It looks like it reminds me of a Toy Story. You got Woody and everything. Really nice theme overall. As oh, Relax going down for Inside Games, very surprisingly enough. Yeah, recently a lot of good skins have been coming out in the game. I'm very happy with it. And also a really good amount of shots potentially coming out from Sensius. Athis, the deadly amount of bloodline is going to be playing this coal mine from up above. He surrounds it. I got the upper ground. Anakin, you can't do anything. And he proves it once more that the upper ground is the dominant fashion in PUBG Mobile.
Inside Games. You struggled to make it through to the finals from the semi-finals. Now in the finals. Coming into this, you were 14th. Last game, you got 1 kill at the start, caught out Bloodline, but yeah, just definitely mistakes were made, and I hope they learn for tomorrow's games that you just can't presume you have a team fight won so early in the game that, you know, if you don't bite hard enough, you're going to get bitten back twice as hard.
I mean, Dale, my little thing to you, don't crash a compound when you have no weapons. Maybe wait it a little bit off. That should be fine. Now, just going to be panning over between these teams. I haven't really seen too much of the map. Hopefully, we'll have a little overview very, very soon. But you know what? We're going to be focusing on the action between Red Reserve and Godsent. Novas taking a pretty heavy hit, and he's just going to go as far away off Godsent as he possibly can. But far is not going to be enough for Novas. They find the shots. Cavalry Red Reserve will be coming over the bridge. They're going to be taking their time because they know that if they cross over the bridge, it might just be easy pickings for Godsent. Now, Klaas going to make it back over to Novas very slowly, but Navi is going to be very proactive on this one, trying to take himself that position behind the rocks, maybe stop the res onto Novas to happen. And I think Navi might try and take a little sneaky 1v1 for himself, but he's getting very wide, and that's giving a lot of extra time to Klaas to go for the res onto his fallen teammate.
But the good thing for Red Reserve is because they sent 2 players over the bridge to begin with and kept 2 players across the other side, you do have that backline support from Victor. And I think that was overall very intelligent by Red Reserve. And they expected there might have been a team around there. So, hey, overall, great by both teams. None of them have been too heavily punished as of yet.
I'm genuinely surprised as to why Godsent or put himself pushing from one location where they would like suffocating Red Reserve down on the slope of the river. I don't know. What do you think of Godsent's repositioning? Because I personally have a lot of questions here.
I think it's risky. I think it's more the fact that they don't know. They didn't know that there was 2 players of Red Reserve across the other side of the bridge. So they were going for that coastal line play based off the fact that they could suppress Red Reserve by the water. They know it's Red Reserve and it's their biggest rivals because they're in first. So by eliminating the first place team, not only are you helping yourself in terms of the kills you get from that, but you're helping yourself in claiming that top spot.
Oh, Red Reserve, you know what? They're just going to try and force on through this wall known as Godsent, and 1 player will go down. That's Klaas just going to be continuing on his endeavors. I believe the rest of the 2-man split of Red Reserve actually went up north on the eastern side of the map, so they just don't have to cross over the bridge of Godsent. That was a risky move. It paid 50-50. It's still a risky move to go for, but they had to eventually.
I think it was like losing 1 player in that kind of situation is, hey, it could have been a lot worse. That's definitely not good for a member of X team.
Yeah, since it's God, he was just prone, and you know what? Really good plays from here, able to find himself. Beg for mercy. Grenade, you know, I just want to get close. I don't want to cross on over. No. Social distancing and all that. If I'm going to kill you, it's going to be from a distance. But that grenade, not going to quite hit the mark. You know what? The bullets will do what they're supposed to do. That is killing. Since it's God picking up the first kill of Clay GLA.
It does kind of make me think why some of the teams are kind of out in the open like that. In Vikendi, I get for scouting purposes, but with Vikendi being so compound heavy, why not kind of position to a building, even a single building, a single shack, and get information from there. We're seeing it with Clay GLA here. They're getting caught out by Polar Ice. It kind of makes you think, why are you out in the open like that?
Junker, yeah, I was about to say that tree is not going to give you enough coverage, and not the case whatsoever. Ked going to be able to find himself potentially the flush onto Junker. 17 damage, followed up with a bunch of 17 damage bullets. And that will be the end of Junker of Clay GLA. Second kill going to Polar Race overall. And I want to see today a Polar Race chicken dinner. I hope they can get one. Let's see if they can try and deserve it on this game of Sanhok. Vikendi, Sanhok. Wait, what? No, ignore that.
Hey,
that never happened.
It would be pretty ironic that they would get a chicken dinner in the finals in Vikendi, considering their team name is Polar Ace, and polar bears do love snow, and you know they love ice. So to make it work on Vikendi would definitely be a good thing indeed. Either way, as a team, as players, they don't care where they get a win. They'll just take a win. They want to win. They want to win. They know and believe that they can win. They just got to show it in these games.
Thinking of the North Pole, I'm just thinking right now the Eskimos, they got basically an infinite supply of crushed ice. And I love crushed ice. I'm a little bit jealous, not going to lie, guys. I would love to live in one of those northern countries.
Baby.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. That's an OG song. I don't even know who made it. I just know it for the memes. Who done it?
The track, the do. It's from the Queen song Under Pressure.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yep.
As you say on this broadcast, every day is a school day, and Imperium is teaching us culture from the past. Chop from the past. As now, and Farm a little bit split away from each other. Jody in a really good spot to just gather that information. He knows for sure now the gauging, and even potentially MVP Gaming in the distance will be having information about that. The circle's about to come up once again. He said about 55% water into this one. We'll go back into the water. It could be... Oh, you know what? Actually taking a lot more land away than water into this one. We might actually have a water finish on this game. Ooh.
It still is risky to take the coastal line, right? If you're UDR killers going in time to shine. I definitely think the real deal MVP and Gaijin are in much better positions than the three teams that I've also mentioned. But with it shifting down south and teams did opt for more centralized / coastline position, it still makes it a bit easier for the teams that are now outside the circle to make their way in on the edge.
I think that could be the case as X Team. They're just standing on by. Unfortunately, this time for you, X Team, the circle's not going to go your way, so you might have to move just a few inches forward. I'm really sorry, guys. I know you like to be a little bit lazy sometimes and just chilling in your compound. You know what? I know it's cold
harsh,
outside.
Man.
I know, but hey, no, come on, I'm just memeing around, of course. But they literally did not move an inch, I believe, on that one game of Sanhok.
Well,
now they have to move a bit.
They do have a player called Zombie, right? And zombies tend to be kind of slow, right? They don't like to really move super fast.
Depends
so
what movie you're watching.
If
you're watching DayZ, then they're hella fast. If you're watching Resident Evil, then they're not fast at all. Depends.
I'm thinking Resident Evil, baby.
Resident Evil, so they're hella slow. Okay, you know what? Fair enough.
PUBG Mobile did a Resident Evil crossover at one point.
They're true, but they had some fast zombies, actually, I believe. But Athis, ooh. This man, even though you think he's caged up in this fight, he is dangerous by himself. Athis just going to buy some time, but at least he's behind that wall, which is great to hold on to even when you're trying to breach yourself a compound. And because if the side are really bet Romania try and push themselves, they're going to get attacked from the high ground position. But here it is, Run able to actually find himself Athis, but the response from Bloodline from up above, a little bit too slow, unfortunately, and Bloodline losing their third player. And Alin, he just can't go for the res onto Athis, and that's going to be Alin remaining alone for this game.
That was one of the things where it's like, should I go for the heal? Shouldn't I go for the heal? And it was like, yeah, I'll go for the heal. I'm fine. And then he gets caught out. It's one of those feel bad moments indeed, but it does leave it all in on his own. At least he's still in the game. And I gotta say, like, I'm a little bit happy to have seen, like, you know, BetX still up as a full squad. I know it's only phase 2, but considering kind of how they struggle so far in today's games compared to what we've seen from them in the semi-finals, I kind of want to see them get that result to shove them back up in the top of the standings.
I want to bet Romania. Is the X silent? Do you say bet X Romania or do you say bet Romania?
I say bet X Romania.
I think I've never seen a word where the X is silent. I think this would be a first in a lexicon.
It's normally, you normally wouldn't have it if the X is in their team tag, but because it's kind of bet X, I think it just makes sense. I know that's what I'm calling it, but yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, like it reminds me, like in my older Xbox days, I had my old IGN was XX and Maxman 30 XX, and I would get very nasal if people not say the XX in the name. So overall, there you go. X's can be silent or not. That's okay. That's your choice.
Well, maybe they have the X for X marks the spot, as an X marks the spot for them claiming a chicken dinner, and they certainly need it in this last game of the day. They've been able to get another knock along the way. The next phase is about to pop up. Where is it going to go? It centers up quite nicely with a lot of water taken out of the mix, but it's still a good 45% in my opinion.
Yeah, it's still quite a bit. And you know what? You said the coastline could be a little bit risky so far for Gun, UDR Killers, Polar Ace. They're pretty happy with this one. Time to shine, even if they're pretty much on the more southern eastern side, they're still pretty safe and dandy. That's really good. But Scrim Farm so far, you know how the circle, we can predict where it's going to go towards like phase 3, phase 4 is going to move away from the water normally. Because the circles have been pretty weird as of recently, but normally it should be going up there. Scrim Farm, they're currently in the best position and predicting the circle to the best of their capacities.
It is important, though, because they are still relatively in the center of this phase, that they control it, that they are somewhat aggressive, that they know how to play around the teams around them. They should be a little bit prepared for this in terms of not only have they been here since pretty much the start of the game, dropping in double Meso and rotating relatively early, but based on previous Vikendi games and where teams like to drop, they should have a fountain of knowledge that they'll be able to, drink out of coming into the next couple of phases.
The Fountain of Jouvence. Is that how you say in English? I know that's how you say in French.
What do you mean, like Fountain of Youth?
Yeah, that's the one. Fountain of Youth it is in English. Yeah, I was saying it in French for a second there. But you know what? French is nowhere part of this engagement between both Time to Shine and UDR Killers. Daddy's going to go extremely low. Just going to go straight over to the coastal line. But the coastal line will not save you, my friend, as Daddy's going to get swiftly confirmed away by UDR Killers. That will be their second kill so far. Vamos, UDR Killers. Vamos.
I'm going to kind of correct you on that a little bit, because as far as I know, UDR Killers have a French player. As far as I know, at least Pocus is marked down as French. So
don't ruin my transition, Imperium, please. Just...
Sorry, bro. Sorry,
it
bro.
was my segue. Okay, well, I was really hoping it was good, but I tried my best. Yeah, I've been having really good segues today, by the way. Like, his transitions are clean. Man, this guy.
You should copyright those transitions, man. You can make a mint, Copyright strike anybody that tries something similar.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna abuse the DMCA to take down kind of issues. Let's go for it. We'll see how that's gonna be happening. But now, so far, this game has been targeting these teams a little bit closer together. Phase 4 is gonna be happening very, very soon in this lobby. So right now, compounds are slowly gonna be taken away. But this is an area actually in Imperium where there's still a lot of compounds, a little bit of nook and crannies. So you know what? Even on the later stage of like phase 4 or 5, I still expect we could still have a lot of teams remaining in this game.
Yeah, 15 teams, 48 players. We have obviously lost more players than we have teams, which is natural, but there's quite a few teams with only 1 or 2 players left standing, as one of these teams are kind of red reserve, where Victor and Frost, the only 2 players left, and Godsend are hovering close by.
Got 2 angles though, so Godsend, I don't know what Godsend doing. Okay, they just don't know really what they want to do. They're currently also going to be in the blue zone very soon, so you can't really stay here. I think they just want to try and pop a few meds before fully sending it, because I don't know, they might make it into a compound where a team is holding on to it. As Victor, he's just taking a very, very passive approach, and Frost, I think he has no intention of taking shot. Oh my god.
Oh wow.
What? I mean, Gun and UDR Killers are really happy. Like, once again, UDR Killers, vamos, man. Like, they have the circle to take this game potentially with Gun. But this is a risky one.
Okay, so UDR, I definitely think they have more security in their positioning, but Gun, I don't know. They're like very, very, very coastal line. As in, if the next shift, and in my opinion, it's going to shift onto the mainland on the next shift, it's going to be so hard for them to navigate away from the likes of Polar Ace and Clay GLA cleanly, or even UDR Killers, depending on the position. At the end of the day, though, if they can hold on while a few teams are punished from rotating into the circle via the outside and the northeast and the northwest, then yeah, it could benefit them. But either way, I don't know. I think Gun's positioning is only going to take them so far, Max.
Yeah, the mid-rotation, that's going to be Godsend, making their way inside a sneaky little compound. It's been just around a corner. They were putting their mortgage down like, we want this one. And here it is. They put their deposit down, and now it's going to be theirs to take. But it's going to be in the blue also very soon in phase 4. So maybe Godsend don't try and overstay welcome, as GSG also in a pretty similar situation. You got to think about moving closer into the circle. There's so much water still in place. I think here a lot of teams are going to be playing for the coastal line, which is good in itself, because you know you're not going to get attacked from the water. I mean, even though I said that, we saw that happen the other day on Erangel, where teams just come out of the water and just shoot you down randomly. But overall, you're going to have to take a gamble. Coastal line or inland, it's your choice. But at the end, it really depends on where the circle's going to go.
I've also noticed Time to Shine have been rotating really nicely in this game, proactive on their positioning, reacting to the circle very well, and it could benefit them coming into the late game. But now BedX, they have to stave off the pressure of Gaijin.
Gaijin coming out. Just a few shots will be traded out for the time being. Not too much of an issue. They want to be neighbors until they just lawn the... mow the lawn. There you go. I was inversing both words. And then they do a little bit too much sound. And then they're going to complain about each other. Then they're going to shoot each other in the face. That's at least what I do with my neighbors. As there you go. Bet Romania going to try and sneak their way out of this one. Gaijin struggling to find those shots with the SKS, but that's completely fine. We've seen the circle going to be shitting up in the top right section of your screen, and it's going to go back inland. That was a hard shift we were expecting eventually. No more water. Just a little bit of water still in play, but here it is. Clayglay fighting versus Bet Romania. Bet Romania tried to disengage from this spot, but Clayglay will not let this happen.
And Gaijin are still around this area for a bit of a third party. They're closer to the edge of the circle based on that last circle shift. Ooh. And that's where Cedric has been able to knock down Sensei God.
Man, it feels good when you see some headshots with the SKS. Weapon that I think is a little bit undermined, a little bit underused, and it does deserve a lot of recognition. True. It feels good when you have that nice, sleek headshot on the SKS. But now, Bet Romania, they've still got Bammies in the blue. They've still got another player on the right side. That's going to be WWS, and we know how good these two players can be. But unfortunately, when the man advantage is not going in your favor, how good can you fight it off? We'll have to see as a WWS going to go for a little bit of a wider rotation as Gaijin don't want to stay here. They're going to move out. So far, teams are being really respectful of each other.
Kind of makes sense. WWS is doing what he can to get into the, not necessarily into the circle, but outside the blue zone. Although as the, it's starting to move in, it's going to be a little bit harder for him. We are seeing WWS also having a bit of space because his teammate is distracting Clayglay. Clayglay have to think about their position inside the circle and the fact that Gaijin are camping them on the edge of it.
Going to be taking their time. We're also going to have a compound fight between, I believe that's GSG Europe and another team that I can't quite see because it's pixelated. Here we go. The push from Sensei God will be happening, but he's put so damn low in the process that the blue zone will be taking his life shortly afterwards. The Clayglay still got Raxman. They still got Safar Ali. And this is the first time actually I realized that Raxman is so close to Maxman. We are maybe brothers when I think about it. Ooh.
Rax is kind of like the Rastafari Maxman.
I don't know how you got to that conclusion, but you know what? I'll take it.
Take it as a compliment.
I mean, I think you can. There you have it. But now Clayglay still got two. Going to be taking a little bit of tick damage from that blues. And it definitely got really passive in this game because everyone's taking a very slow approach. But Raxman, unfortunately, a very slow approach will mean the teams will be potentially gatekeeping you away from the circle. Another dead to only one player. That's going to be Safar Ali, trying to really buy as much time as possible with those smokes with that utility. But Safar Ali, unfortunately, ticking down heavily with still 3 more first stage remaining. I think Gaijin will definitely put the nail in the coffin of Clayglay. And even Polar Ace, they're getting involved. Allen on top of the mountain is still alive. I don't know how, by what miracle, but he's still up there trying to represent Bloodline to the full extent of his capacity. Safar Ali now, unfortunately, once again, taken down really heavily. But look at that circle going over to Scrim Farm. Ooh, this is going good for them.
Scrim Farm and UDR Killers can just counter Lucky Stars with this circle shift. They are really the only two teams that are somewhat cleanly inside the circle. But even then, UDR on the edge, they'll have to react quickly. They do have a pocket of information. Every other team is on the outskirts. And remember what I said about Gun? The circle shifting away, them being so heavily on the coastline. It's going to hit, they're going to hit a brick wall. And I feel like this is their brick wall.
About walls, Maskoff is right behind one. There you go. That's my transition. Hey, told you, transition today are on point. As GSG, they were taking a fight earlier. I knew he was gonna beat. Don't judge me, please. I don't need this right now. But Time to Shine also in a pretty similar compound, but they were down south on the eastern edge, and now they're gonna have to wrap their way in. And currently, the real deal, they're gonna be a big pebble in their shoes. They're gonna be a big issue because they got high ground position, they got a compound, they can easily feel the hurt over on these two teams of Time to Shine and GSG Europe. So if they want to rotate, that's cool. Got to keep in mind that teams around you know where you are, and they are definitely not going to make it easy for you.
One pattern that I'm seeing with Vikendi that is punishing or hurting a lot of teams is Godsend are doing what they can on those vehicles to move into the circle. We've had one knocked down. See Time to Shine. But one thing that I've noticed that teams tend to kind of stop rotating in Vikendi after a certain point, and you have to be able to move out. You have to be able to react, and it's kind of like, hey, look, if you don't, you're going to get hit by the blue zone. In phase 5, phase 6, That hurts like hell.
I mean, time to shine. They saw exactly where GS Europe rotated into. So they're like, okay, we saw they rotated behind that rock. We're going to go in opposite direction, maybe a little bit high ground onto GSG so they can actually take the fight towards them. That's actually a really smart play if that was the intention from time to shine. I love to see that come out from them. Now let's see if they can capitalize on the opportunity. Oh my God, Wolves, I really thought he could find the shots there with a barrel, but that's going to be instantly punished away by GS Europe. Going for the spray, that's going to be Andelito picking up the kill. Kill number 1 actually for GSG. Then they were in the compound. I thought they maybe would have had a few extra.
UDR killers have 2 members closer to the center of the circle, Pocus and Ulysses. That's going to set them up pretty nicely. They're now going to move those vehicles to the edge of the road so they have that wall in play. Polar Ace are also still inside this game as a full squad. Jody from Scrim Farm finds Sedgwick. That's going to take out an opponent, but Polar Ace are going to be helped by Scrim Farm.
Oh my God, from the high ground, Mountain Ken and Savage X will remain alive in this one, but now they're going to be very close to Scrim Farm, and Scrim Farm, they're not really happy to be too close off these teams, and if you're close, they're going to try and deal the hurt and eliminate them. Here it is, Jody going to go for the jump shot. That was so risky. They actually pays dividends. Jody with the Thompson had 50 bullets and turned it into 1 knock. Now they're going to be able to go for the res normally. Savage X down below could get Ked to just go around to his location, but Scrim Farm, they want to try and get revenge for that kill they had earlier. It is with the Thompson, jump down. Pekka, we know how insane this player can be. He finds Elusive, finds Maskop, but the bullets will be coming out a little bit too late. Now, so Jackson, unfortunately, sprayed from the other side. No, we had a sneaky third party happening, and Polar Ace will get eliminated in 8th position. I believe that was UDR. Ulysses indeed got the third party onto Savage X.
Yeah, that's where UDR killers are taking advantage of them being on that kind of low ground of the road. They're able to peek up and shoot, especially with the vehicles in play. They do have to worry about Gun and GSG Europe on their side of the road and the south side of the circle. Time to shine. They have to look in the direction of Scrim Farm. UDR, though, hey, they have more of a sightline on the time to shine than I kind of thought. Plus, with MVP still in play, this could be MVP's best result of the day.
MVP, they can still be pretty happy with what they did right there. Let's see if they can try and get some better results going into tomorrow. Just Europe. Bloody this. Saw UDR killers from a distance. Hey, you know what? I said Bamos UDR killers. Now, I say the lucky charm has been set. UDR killers can potentially take this one. But they've got to be careful. The big issue here is going to be mainly GS Europe as they're going to be dealing out the hurt. The smokes are buying them a lot of precious time, but unfortunately those smokes are dissipating quickly and surely, making it pretty hard for them to hold on to the location. But GSG, they're currently also out of the circle compared to UDR that are currently in the circle. So they got just such a good foothold to put pressure onto GSG. They can't fight back in really good fashion, and they're going to be ticking down so quickly because of the blue. And it's phase 7. You can't afford to stay there for too damn long, and GSG might just go down because of the blue Imperium. They delayed their rotation too much, and UDR, they're capitalizing on it. 1 extra knockdown, and they're looking so good. Already up to 6 kills. UDR killers seem unstoppable in this game of Vikendi.
Because they've been reacting to the circle shifts in time without the blue zone hitting them so hard. It's the same with time to shine. I just can't emphasize it enough how important it is. And now they're grabbing control of this game as they're down to the last 5 teams.
Down to 5 teams indeed. Yes, Giraffe is going to be ticking down. Yes, no more meds, and that will be arigato gozaimasu. See you later, my good sir. We'll see you tomorrow into the next 4 games. So actually, the circle shifting back over to the southern eastern edge. Really good for the side of Time to Shine. And Time to Shine, they desperately need some good results to make it just a little bit higher up after that bad result they had earlier on Sanhok. Let's see how they're going to pull on through. Swerve is only there. He's going to be able to pull off the res onto his ally, which is Will. Naya can still potentially make it back into the smoke. But MVP Gaming really delaying their own rotation up in the northern edge. They're going to make it up against not only Scrim Farm, but also Time to Shine. MVP Gaming trying to heal up. They're taking the blue zone tick damage also very, very soon after 15 seconds. They are struggling. While UDR killers, they just put a transat down and they're just chilling in the open air. They're having such a good time.
Great thing about UDR killers is because they took out GSG, in theory, they don't have to move to the north side of the road. They don't have to go across the road. There's that pocket little part of the south side of the road that is still inside the circle that they're able to grab a hold of. They have punished Scrim Farm a little bit, and I think Time to Shine before they moved in, but that's good because they've suppressed those 2 teams even more, giving them more potential control as we're getting into the 27-minute mark of this game.
MVP has still got 2 players remaining behind that rock. It's going to be Akashi and Neymad. But unfortunately, the clock is ticking and it's clicking towards their inevitable doom. I think they're definitely going to be struggle with it. As I say that, here it is, the blue zone ticking down very heavily. It's phase 8. They just can't out healing. They got to run away from that rock. That's 1. That's the 2nd. Look at that. Trading the kills between both Scrim Farm and also UDR killers. That's going to be a nice trade-off overall, and that's going to be so many kills. But Scrim Farm, talking about kills, they picked up 6 over the entire board. Even though they got nice on lots of ways, gathering a lot of information on Scrim Farm. And here it is, UDR Killers sending it. It's D-Day. They're debarking over on the open lands of Time to Shine and Scrim Farm. But Scrim Farm, they're not focused on so far Time to Shine. They're focused on UDR Killers, but now UDR Killers, they can just go over onto the fight as they're taking a fight between both Time to Shine and Scrim Farm. UDR Killers really struggling on this one. They still got Sandro remaining with the Uzi. He's a one-man army. Everyone on his team got taken out. Scrim Farm able to eliminate themselves. The squad of Time to Shine. Scrim Farm will be taking normally first or second position. Same also for UDR Killers. Ditto that. But now 1v1. And he's going to capitalize on it. Here it is. The push of Sandro will be unfolding. The res is literally just 1 second away. He's going to go for the spray. Now turn into a 1v2. Takes one. Takes the second. Sandro secures the chicken dinner to close it off today for UDR Killers. Vamos UDR Killers. And they came around. That was some damn caliente gameplay.
It was absolutely fire coming out from UDR Killers. Could they have ended that game a little bit more cleanly? Probably. They had a full squad. Only one player ended up surviving. But at the end of the day, they benefited from the fact that they were reactive to the circle shifts. They got third partying onto the likes of Time to Shine and Scrim Farm. It was a cluster of madness towards the end. They took out MVP. And for them to end this first day of the finals with a chicken dinner and 10 kills, that's going to be 30 points, baby.
30 points. UDR Killers, they're really happy about that one. And we did hype them up at the end. You know, we did say these guys, they're winning PMWL. They know what's up. They know. I think these guys, tell me if I'm wrong, I think they know how to play PUBG pretty well. I think they're pretty good at PUBG.
Yeah, they do.
I think they know how to shoot a gun. You know what, UDR Killers, they proved it right here. 10 kills plus that 30 points that you just mentioned in Pyram. But Scrim Farm, shut up. Once again, a really decent spot right here. Like, I'm really happy with Scrim Farm that they've been able to pull off, maybe not on the most consistent basis. Sure, it's not been a really consistent day, but they got decent results that makes them in a position where they can easily take a top 4 slot tomorrow.
Max, this is what I love. This is what I love. Red Reserve and Godsend. Okay, Godsend got 9 points. Credit where it's due. But Red Reserve, who were in first, they only got 2 points. 3 teams that were relatively struggling, Scrim Farm, Time to Shine, and MVP Gaming, all got 23, 15, and 10 points respectively. And even UDR Killers, they weren't struggling, but that chicken dinner, it's gonna make the overall standings so much closer coming into day 2.
So much closer. I mean, good golly, Miss Molly, I'm enjoying this tournament. Like, you know, the group stage, it was fun. The semi-finals, it was cool. But these finals, baby, like, I'm just so tasty. I'm savoring every single second of it, and I just can't let it fit. Oh, okay, it was a little bit of a different POV right there. That's cool, that's fine. Back over to our beautiful, sexy faces. There we go. But there you have it. That's our 4 games done. And you know what? Now, really, we're at the point where it's 50% done. We've got 4 games done. We still got 4 more games on every single map tomorrow. Vikendi, Miramar, Sanhok, and Erangel tomorrow. And after that, we'll be having our top 4 teams going over to the EMEA League. Before that, like, we got to check the standings. You know what? I believe I updated them, so I'm going to update them again to make sure that I did not do a mistake and everything is good and refreshed. There we have it. So let's go Imperium. Let's check out the top. I mean, I was going to say top 16. We only have 16 teams, which in a sense is still top 16, but let's just check it out.
Oh man, UDR Killers top spot, 66 points. I'm a little bit disappointed it's not 69 points, but at least they end day 1 in first place, overtaking Red Reserve. As I said, 2 points in the last game. God, you can't let that happen tomorrow. At least they're still in the top 4.
UDR Killers overcoming the adversity in these games today. Really proud of their performance overall. They're still not the top killing team, though. That is actually going to be going over to Godsend. And we did, going into the tournament, mention the Godsend. They're the really aggressive team. They like to get those breaches, like to get all those kills under their belt. So they're going to be showing it once again. But overall, UDR Killers, Red Reserve, Godsend, Scrim Farm looking damn impressive, taking the top 4 after day 1. But Bloodline and NXT with 1 chicken dinner each. It really shows that here there's a little bit of lack of consistency. Sure, we're being nitpicky. Well, I'm specifically being nitpicky, but I have to because only the top 4 teams are going to make it to the next stage. Like, you need to be so consistent over every single game. Literally, one bad game at this level of play could be the reason why you don't make it to the EMEA League.
Yeah, Bloodline are 2 points behind Scrim Farm. If this was the end of tomorrow, they'd miss that spot, even though they got chicken dinner. We all say chicken dinner is important. I said how important it is to jump you back up in the standings. As an example, UDR Killers overtaken first. But there's no point in getting the chicken dinners if the rest of your games aren't of the same standard. When I say standard, I don't mean standard of points. or I don't necessarily mean standard of chicken dinners, but standard of gameplay, standard of consistency, just that standard where you're able to secure the spot needed to move to the next stage. And look, it's still close, so close. The one thing that I love is that compared to the end of the last game where it was 20 points between first place and fourth place, it's now only 17 points. And you might go, well, that's only 3 points. It's closer. That 3 points can be the difference. The team doesn't qualify and does qualify. Coming into tomorrow, it's overall anybody's game. And can I also just add, Inside Games, BetX Romania, Gun. Let's not forget that it's not out of the woods just yet. They can all have blinder games tomorrow and push themselves back up there.
I mean, we saw some teams during PMWL East, even like during European PMCO. Sometimes in literally 4 games, they hit the 100-point bomb. It is literally mathematically possible. Or like, you know, that you talked about the law of percentages. Like, percentage speaking, there's a slim chance of teams being able to make it back up from 16th to #1 position, or at least minimum top 4 in just 4 games.
Yeah, I know it's not the group stage, and I know these are, you know, the 16 best teams in Europe, but GSG, they didn't score 85 points in 3 games for nothing in the group stage, right? We know they can do that. They know they can do it. It's just they have to show it in tomorrow's 4 games. They're on 28 points. They only have 5 kill points. That's probably one of the things that is really weighing down GSG and Europe. When you look at Polar Ace and 19 kill points, even Clay GLA and 8 kill points in the real deal on 14 kill points. I want to see the Sanhok GSG only in every single game tomorrow.
There you go. We want to see the Sanhok GSG. I mean, we want, like, not even just the Sanhok GSG. I want to see the group stage GSG back on the top of the mountain, claiming back their throne of the group stage and dominating into these games of the finals. Like, they can do so. They have the tools. I mean, you have Andelito, you have Law, you have got so much talent in your team. They're still just missing that little pinch of salt that makes the entire difference. So we'll see if they get that pinch of salt tomorrow. They can ask Salt Bay for that. I think he's got a lot to deliver. They have it. With that said, that's it for our first day of the finals. It went so damn quick. I mean, normally at the end, we're like, me and Imperium were like, oh my God, we're done. You know, it's been exhausting. We're like, I want more. I want more.
I know, right? I could
give
cast
us
2 more games, 3 more games. Give us more.
But that's fine. You know what? Everything is fun. All good things have an end. And you know what? That's going to be the end of day 1. We still got day 2. And you know what? Day 2 is going to be same time tomorrow, 9 p.m. CEST indeed. So definitely go check that out. Jesus Christ, I couldn't breathe there for a second. That was really weird. But that's okay. But with that said, before we do also go for the end of the broadcast, before we do wrap it up, I do also want to mention that what these teams are currently playing for. Like, what's at stake right now? Maybe people will join very late. We don't know exactly what they're aiming for. What's the next stage? Is it regional finals? Do we have a European PMPL? What is going on? What we're going to be having actually is the EMEA League. It's going to be kicking off on October 8th at 6 p.m. GMT +3 time, which is I'm really bad with time zones, so I'm not going to be going too deep in there. Just searching on Google. I'm sure you'll find it. I don't want to spell mistakes over there. It's going to be on all the official channels, so like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And it's going to be all the best teams of MENA. It's all going to be all the best teams of Europe. Europe is also going to be including all teams from CIS, Germany, Turkey, and also getting involved with the European region itself that we're casting right now. I mean, literally all of the best teams of the West, at least in the European-based West, are going to be playing in this tournament. It's going to be such a big clash of metas. I want to see that happen right now.
32 teams fighting for 3 spots over, I think, 3 weeks of play. That's gonna be absolutely insane. Yeah, okay, we talk about PMWL being a test. Yeah, that is of course an absolutely monstrous test, and it was for the likes of Yala, UDR, Killers. But when you're taking, teams that haven't experienced a PMWL and you're putting them into a PMWL format of 3 weeks of gameplay where it's like every day, not every day, but it's like day after day, week after week. Yeah, okay, they all compete in scrims regularly. They all play PUBG Mobile a lot, but when you're talking about specific competition where, hey, you performing badly at the start of the game, no matter how much you improve throughout the tournament, can be the reason why you don't qualify for the PUBG Mobile Global Championship. That's heartbreaking, but it's going to be a real true test for all the teams that do qualify.
Yeah, once again, they're all aiming for the EMEA League, which is currently with a total cash prize of $100,000. gonna repeat that again. $100,000 US. Absolutely insane.
Dude, no.
No, I'm so sorry I had to do it, but there you have it. With that said, that's going to be the end of the broadcast. Thank you so much for coming around today with us. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you the action and cast these games for you guys at home. Hope you had a good time. You know what? If you want to come around tomorrow, as I said earlier, same time, same place, 9 p.m. CST over here is going to be brought to you by myself and Imperium. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? That's your choice to see. With that said, we'll see you all tomorrow. Hopefully, have a great rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you all tomorrow on Sunday for the final 4 games, PMCO European Regional Finals. See you guys next time.
Roy's countering. Percocet gets the knock.
Oh, another one.
Quick counter.
The trade. Sam with the drop shot from behind. Unsuccessful on that. J7 coming in for the support.